Yeah, fuck it.
Fuck it.
Fuck it. Put snipers on the rooftops. Like, that's obviously a show force. That's not like we're actually going to do anything, but like, come on. A bunch of fucking college kids.
I mean, but it's an escalation of force.
I was about to say, that's more an escalation.
It's one thing to send in riot shields and batons.
True.
Right? It's another thing to put an arm. He's not shooting beanbag rounds out of that fucking thing.
I don't know. Could be airsoft guns.
Yeah.
Making guns out of scrap metal, but from his own designs.
Hell
and he
yeah.
just did a lever action. He just figured out a lever action. I'm just gonna weld it in this.
Does he sell these?
This cave? Sure. I mean, you're gonna fly over to Egypt and get them? Oh, you mean like the schematics?
The guns or the schematics.
Well,
both.
I mean,
I'd do either.
I don't know if I'd probably trust my bullpup Turkish shotgun over the Egyptian handmade lever action.
I mean, the Turks figured out how to make guns somehow, right?
They did.
Yeah, by genocide.
They did. They had one
That's
of
how you
those too?
test them. That's how you test them. That's not how you develop
I'm pretty sure
them.
the Armenian
research
genocide
and
was the
development.
Turks.
Nice.
Pretty sure.
But no, you can go on Defense Distributed. That's Are We Cool Yet? Is also a good website for any of your
Yeah.
schematics for 3D printing or
I like
80%ing.
We are not sponsored, but I'd love to be by those guys.
Yeah. But yeah, it was Albanian genocide. And they don't like the Grecians either.
Oh, I thought racism only happened in America.
The Middle East has been in conflict since
Yeah.
since we crawled out of it.
Well, and then Turkey.
We were there to help. What are
the
you
only
talking
reason
about? We made it so much better.
the only reson that nobody knows that Turkey
Now they
sucks
have
is because
night
they're in
vision.
NATO. Because Turkey's a fucking garbage country. Their government is fucking horrendous. But they're in NATO, so we have to play nice.
They make a good M4 clone though.
I mean-
Benelli M4.
Yeah.
Do you think they have turkeys in Turkey?
I doubt it. They
We have,
barely
Jamie,
ate all
pull that
those.
up.
Jamie, pull that up.
We have the technology in front of us.
Oh, shit.
Do they?
We went
have-
from a bunch of black
You're
people
really gonna
drag
look that up?
racing to
All right.
Vice. It's now like 80s movies.
Now I want to know
Directed by Michael Bay.
is
Here we go.
Uh-oh.
Here's where things get even more bewildering. Turkey, which has no native turkeys, does not call turkey turkey. It doesn't go on to say what they call turkeys, there, but
so the world just calls them turkey. They call themselves something.
what are turkeys called in Turkey? This probably speaks to their racism a little bit. They call them Hindis.
Wow.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Makes sense.
That's wild.
I wonder if they like the Packies.
What are you going hunting for? Just some Hindis?
Boy.
Yeah.
Hindi shot?
If you're into that type of history, though, I would definitely recommend like just looking into the history of Turkey as a nation and the shit that they do, and wonder to yourself why they're in NATO.
How did we get to shitty bullpup shotguns? What led you here? We are live though.
Nice.
So
Yep.
a couple minutes in. I don't know how many minutes in that is. 3 minutes in. From left to right. Introductions.
Michigan's third favorite Cowboy.
You were the first favorite last week. What happened?
Okay, well, I was really thinking about it, but
I
Malcolm
reflected.
Rodriguez on Detroit Lions and then Cade Cunningham on Detroit Pistons all came from Oklahoma State. So I'm,
Doesn't make
respectfully,
Cowboys,
I'm under them.
Okay. Well, welcome back, Crye Cowboy. You, sir.
The DEI hire is back for
That's
another
it.
episode demo.
The man who makes us an affirmative action podcast. Welcome back, demo, and you, sir, new.
First time caller, long time listener.
Thank you.
Scoundrel.
Welcome.
Thanks for having me.
Tell us a little bit about yourself. What do you do? What are you interested in? What are your beliefs that you want to peddle on everybody?
Oh boy, I don't know if we have enough time for that, but let's see. I've done a lot of things. Right now, I currently work in the beverage manufacturing industry, which is fun. At the largest brewery in Metro Detroit. It's not saying a lot.
We have a lot, yeah.
My beliefs. Old school punk anarchist. Grew up. I'm also probably the oldest person in the room.
Yep.
And
you are.
will remain even when our other guest arrives. So that's fun. I've seen some shit, I'm sure, that you guys could ask questions about and whatnot.
Hell yeah.
So
Now it does seem like you have a decent amount of maybe not privileges but benefits of working in the beverage industry. I know you sent around that picture like a whole pallet of like M43s.
Multiple pallets.
Yeah. Just to shell out. Do you just get like free beers then, or how does that work?
I mean, you always have kickoffs. We have an X-ray machine, and we call it the Chuck Norris, and so it goes to the X-ray machine, and then if it's not at the proper fill level, the Chuck Norris kicks it off.
Oh, interesting.
So basically you get that, and then occasionally you'll have you're producing thousands, tens of thousands of cans during a run.
Sure.
You'll have some slide off a pallet, a tray will fail, they'll fall on the ground. And if the can is dented in any way, shape, or form, it cannot go into the market, because there's that, depending on the pH of the beer. So your can is aluminum on the outside, and there is a liner, and it's probably not BPA liner now, but depending on the pH of the liquid inside, it will eat through that if there's a little crease, and you'll get it. It'll eat right through the aluminum, depending on the pH. And you'll have leaky cans.
Is there a botulism
exploding
thing
cans.
with alcohol?
No. Generally, no. If your pH is low enough that it's eating through, nothing's really going to live in that.
Okay.
Interesting.
But
How many cans did you say get kicked a day?
if everything is running optimally, I've seen 30.
Oh, wow.
30 to 50. I mean, you always will have some loss. There's
Sure.
always going to be something.
I expect it to be way higher.
If you're dialed in, no.
Damn.
I mean, but that's coming out of the machine.
Yeah.
Once it comes out of the machine, then it has to be labeled.
Sure.
It has to be rung if it has the 6-pack rings, and then there's all different machines involved with that. So there's always it gets tripped up on the labeler, goes through, gets crushed, gets pinched. So we catch them, we send them off to the side, and you get beer. It's an industry perk. It's great, until you develop a fucking problem.
We have amazing benefits here, the benefits. And it actually makes sense because it's just a giant pallet of beer.
Yeah, we have an employee pallet where we put stuff out for our employees to take home.
So then,
That's cool as
with
fuck.
you being an industry expert, what is your favorite beer? And are you allowed to say any beer outside of ones that you guys put out?
So I work for a contract brewery, so we do produce our own stuff, but we also produce for out-of-state accounts, in-the-state accounts. And no, it doesn't matter. I'm not under contract with them to say, I think you should drink this beer. I would have said Two Hearted, and it probably still is.
Good pick.
But
Two Hearted fucks.
since Bell's got sold to a conglomerate who owns stock in the Myanmar Brewing Company, which is co-owned by the Myanmar military,
That
who
is
are currently genociding
yeah,
people.
their own people.
What?
I do not
dense.
drink Bell's beer anymore. I would have told you that Bell's beer is best fucking beer in the state.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, and then
I
see, I
didn't.
mean, this is like industry shit. Like everybody knew about the Founders thing, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Because Founders had a blacks only
Yeah.
printer, but yeah, it's those little things. But even Founders was bought out by San Miguel, I think, which is a
interesting.
Spanish like holdings company. There are really no true independent large breweries left in Michigan, So drink
not
whatever the
surprised,
fuck
I
you
guess.
want.
Yeah.
I drink Tecate.
Ooh,
I'm a
Mexican
big
beer,
I'm a big
yeah.
Mexican lager fan. I think it's probably one of the easiest to drink styles. I don't understand how people could drink Bud Light
Disgusting.
Here we go. Let's get inflammatory.
No, I mean, you know,
Not because
I
of
have-
the
How you drinking that gay beer, boy?
tranny juice, goddammit.
I've had my issues with macro beer. I mean, it's the reason that I got into craft beer as a young man, and the reason I got into the industry. But yeah, drink what you like.
No, I fuck with that. I'm a big Mexican beer guy myself. I didn't know that about Bell's and Myanmar, though. That's crazy.
Yeah. I mean, you know, there's no ethical consumption in a capitalist market.
This is true.
It's really hard. You know, I'm sure Tecate is owned by somebody who's done something somewhere.
There's always
Yeah,
exploitation in every
there's
market.
yeah, 100%.
Absolutely,
It's
yeah.
hard. Brew your own beer or get your beer from your corner market. This is my first time in something as large a facility as this, where we don't really have our own identity type of a thing, right? So I've had guys, you know, hey, you're a contract brewer, you know, and this is little corner guys, right? Hey, I've got the next Two-Hearted Killer, you know, and all my customers are telling me I need to put it in a bottle so they can buy it at their local liquor store. He's like, what are my minimums? You know, what am I looking at? I'm like, just stay your local, man.
Yeah.
Just keep producing on a small scale. Be your neighborhood's best brewery, right? Be the spot that everybody wants to go to. I have a spot around the corner from me, Urban Rust. Great beer. You can't find their stuff outside of maybe some stores in Ferndale.
Huh.
You know, they don't do any big distribution. Stay small. Be a local. Produce the best beer you can locally, and you'll be packed day in, day out. You don't have to whore yourself out, sell your soul to become
Yeah.
the next big thing because, you know, your customers want to see you at their Meyer, which is 45 fucking minutes away or
Yeah,
some
and then
shit.
that's a whole other thing too. It's like not only you have to deal with like the larger, you know, contract brewers, but then retail's a whole nother fucking nightmare in and of itself. that
Absolute
you gotta
nightmare.
traverse. That's not that'll kill you. You're a small guy and you don't have the capital ready to back that up. Like,
Oh, because, I mean, so we're a 3-tier market. So if you're producing over a certain number in volume, you can't self-distribute.
oh,
So if you keep your volume low, right, you can put stuff in the back of your pickup truck, drive the 45
yeah,
minutes.
that makes sense.
You know,
yeah.
you're not selling into Meyer, but, you know, you may sell into, you know, a local liquor store or something. You know, Ann Arbor's got a huge craft beer scene.
Tons.
They are specific bottle shops. That's all they do is not so many anymore because the whales, the days of trading 22-ounce bombers of barrel-aged stouts and shit and sours, long gone. But yeah, just be local, man.
The same thing happened with like craft, like, and I use quotations here, craft whiskeys, is that they all got bought up as well. Like there was a lot of unique bourbons and whiskeys popping up on the shelves and stores everywhere, and then the more you started looking into them, the more they got picked up by like the Buffalo Traces and by all like the owners of like Evans Williams and stuff like that, and all sort of got brought in. 'Cause as soon as they start making money, an offer big enough's going to come across the table to scoop them up and add them to the portfolio. So I'm not surprised the same sort of applies to the beer world.
Well, I'm not sure how deep into the whiskey and bourbon manufacturing you are, but there are only so many. Well, one, bourbon is very specific in what can be called bourbon.
Right.
There are only so many bourbon producers, like whiskey houses.
Well, and they
So-
have to be in Kentucky to be bourbon, don't they? Yeah.
That's Kentucky bourbon.
Yeah.
Yes. But
And-
bourbon, I know, it has to be at least 51% corn,
Okay.
aged at least for like, it just has to be aged. I don't think there's an actual year
I think-
requirement
I
on
think
bourbon in general.
I think it's a year. I think it's a year in fresh oak.
I think so
Right.
long as it just touches American white oak, it's considered bourbon at that point. It's 51% corn as long as it touches, it's aged in American white oak. Now, I think Kentucky bourbon has different year requirements. I could be wrong. That's when it gets a little interesting. But I know it's got to be aged in American white oak and at least 51% corn. And then if it's something else beyond that, I'm not well read enough on. It's been a while since I did the trail and all the reading and all that.
I mean, we could put together money to buy a barrel and
I'd fuck with
start
that.
our own, come up with your own LLC or whatever to basically just private label. And that's what a lot of these
Like, it's
places
just
are
the
doing.
longest name ever. It's like, I wish the FBI successfully kidnapped my governor.
It'll sell well to a certain market.
Demographic.
It's one
Yeah.
barrel. It only has to sell well to a certain few.
Well, that's
That's
how
fucking
you've
great.
seen a last, I don't know, maybe 10 years. You've seen more liquor stores are getting their own, because that was the
Yeah,
thing.
yeah.
They're producing all this bourbon and they're aging it, and like you said, these small guys, they may produce, right? Like you've got Weiss or Weiss Distilling in Clausen, who are doing their own stuff, right? And Valentine, who are distilling their own stuff. But you do also have these small guys who come out here and just buy a barrel,
Yep.
private label it.
I see that
and
a
sell
lot
it
where
out
it's
there.
like Woodford Reserve and like Select Barrel or something.
Well, it's
where they
cool
pop
because they'll
in,
have
yeah.
them. They'll have them come out, and they'll have them. You'll see that it's a blend from 5 or 6 different
Yeah.
barrels or something.
Yep.
They're really good about doing that, and they had
Interesting.
a
I've been there a couple
really
times, yeah.
nice. They had a really nice Woodward Reserve a couple years ago.
Interesting. That's a great shop. I found has a lot of I haven't looked at in a while. There's a lot of like the smaller like individual Kentucky shops there too. I've noticed. Like, I've seen Bluegrass there. I've seen James E. Pepper there. Just stuff I can't find, like a Meyer or something. Even like a Total Wine, it's tough to find that stuff.
Well,
You're fine.
that's because their buyers are looking for that.
Sure.
Your large chain market buyers are very specific in what they're looking for
Yeah.
and putting on their show.
That makes sense. Yeah.
What do you think about the Traverse City whiskey?
They're not my favorite.
I can say my brother is.
I know a
Or
lot of
was a
people
whiskey
like
drinker,
the
he likes
flavored
that.
stuff of theirs. That's not really for me. I'm not really a flavored guy. Even like I've tried some of their straight stuff, and it's not. I don't know. It's just doesn't taste as refined as some of the other stuff. And it's not like I'd prefer like low proof. Like last night I had a Elijah Craig private whatever barrel thing. It was like 128 plus proof. It was great. It was awesome. And I still prefer that over at the Traverse City whiskey stuff. It just tastes like thin. There's not much to it. It's got a lot of bite, and I just don't get like much flavor from it on its own.
Yeah, I'm not a huge whiskey guy, probably because I haven't ever like had good whiskey. So
That's
maybe
fair. And honestly, what got me into it was just smoking cigars so much because it just pairs so well. And then sort of experimenting with the flavor pairing, different cigars, different whiskeys. And then you're sort of able to go off on your own too with those and try them with different things. And that's how I sort of branched out my collection and passion for whiskeys, bourbons, ryes, scotches, all that sort of thing. Anything brown.
I love Scotch. I love Scotch and Mezcal.
Mezcal.
So
I haven't had that with the
I
cigar
will have
yet.
tequila. I enjoy a nice tequila and whiskey. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, that's been, and Malort.
IPA
Smell it.
supremacy.
Oof, that's a tough sell for me.
I'm a big fan of IPAs with cigars.
I can see
or
that,
like
yeah.
it's not an IPA, but the Leinenkugels, the Summer Shandy,
Summer Shandy fucks.
the Java cigars. It's a like really cheap cigar, but it pairs really nice with that. As well as there's a they're called Sweet Janes. They're like little cigarillos. They come in a tin.
Fuck yeah.
But those, like, it's like pouring sugar into the Summer Shandy. It's so good.
I don't know if my Summer Shandy needs that, but I can see it pairing well,
Yeah,
yeah.
and like it brings out, because to me Summer Shandy tastes a lot like grapefruit ish.
Yeah.
I
I think a grapefruit one.
Yeah, the grapefruit shandy just come back out, and I got to get some of that. But the it like brings more like the grapefruit like citrusy flavor out of it. The Sweet Janes do. So if you're into cheap cigarillos,
I won't lie. One of the best nights we've had out was at a bar in just an awesome outdoor like courtyard patio thing, and I brought 12 plus packs of just Black and Milds inside like my jacket, and I was just shelling them out to everyone. And there was like 30 people just popping Black and Milds outside, just raging, drinking. It was so much fun. It was amazing.
Wood
I used to
tip, wood
hit-
tip or plastic tip?
I think it's great plastic tip.
Savage.
I'm a big fan of the wine.
Okay, give me like
Big fan
12
of
of
the wine
those.
tip.
What's that?
I'm a big fan of the wine tip.
Oh yeah,
Black
fuck
and
it,
Milds.
yeah.
The wine's not bad.
Yeah. I used to inhale those motherfuckers too back when I was like smoking
Different
and
animal
vaping
right
and all
there,
that
man.
stuff. Dude.
You're on a watch list for that.
Well, I'm living up to the melanin count. I gotta.
Ooh.
I gotta. Black
Is
and
that-
Milds, man.
Is that how you get that dark? You inhale your Black and Milds. Wow.
Dude, that's just part of the culture, man. You know, inhaling Black and Milds.
That's nuts.
Yeah.
I had a buddy who used to do that too in high school. He looked like you.
Was that because of the Black and Milds, or
Yeah, for sure.
He did say he likes them brown, so
Oh, what haven't I? Oh, I finally got to sit out in a patio yesterday when it didn't look like this. It was sunny in 76, 78, and enjoyed a big Oberon. It was amazing.
that was one thing. I wish I brought like a beer or something yesterday to that grill event.
Yeah.
Oh, if you're not drinking and grilling, you're doing it wrong.
I was doing it for a store. It was like a corporate event,
Yeah.
so I had to save face a little bit.
It should be
but-
required that if you're gonna
Yeah.
pay and make someone grill, they have a drink. You have
Yup.
to.
Dude, that black Camelback my buddy had was full of fucking rum and coke.
Yeah, I figured it was full of something.
I have a Camelback.
You
like
showed
that
up?
too.
Yeah.
nice?
Yeah, it was fun. It was a lot of fun.
Yeah, it was a good time. It was a little bit of a shit show at the beginning because I was trying to get. I ran a grill event for Ace Hardware yesterday, and smoked some chicken, made some sliders, used a Traeger and a Blackstone. Trying to get the Traeger to start up because it just sits in their back room for months until like they have a grill event. They never like start it up to make sure it's working or whatever. And it would not power on at all. I spent like half an hour, 40 minutes trying to get different cords and using different outlets to figure out, if it was that. And it finally, I was like giving up on it. I called the store manager. I was like, hey, dude, this thing doesn't work. And as I'm on the phone with him, it lit up.
Nice. Fixed by presence.
Yeah. But yeah, it was a good time. Decent turnout.
Feels great just to be outside again, getting sun on you.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. One, it was a little bit breezy, but other than that, it was.
Yeah, the wind was blowing pretty hard because I think this was rolling in. It's been pouring all morning, but it's finally stopping.
Yeah.
Of course, like the weekend, we get like 80-degree weather. It has to rain.
Yeah. My boss bitches about that all the time because like all the last year and the year before, he was wanting to because I work long hours, so we never really have time like after work to go. He rides a Harley, so he likes going out and riding. But the only time we have time to ride is the weekends, and it's like the past 2 years. Every weekend during the summer has been the shittiest fucking weather. Like the week will be 85 degrees, sunny, not a cloud in sight, and then the weekend rolls along and it's like 60 degrees and raining.
Yep.
And it's been the past 2 years. Haven't been able to get out and
Well,
ride
even
at
like
all.
even Friday. Yeah, Friday I woke up, saw it was supposed to be 70. Figured, I could take the bike to work, but it's 36 degrees in the fucking morning.
It's crazy, dude. The
Like,
temperature
What the fuck am
swing.
I supposed to do with this?
Yeah. And you don't have a fairing on yours, right? You pop
I
yours
do.
up. You do? Okay.
I do. It's
So
like a small,
Okay,
sort of
yeah.
like tall, skinny one. But I debated just going home at lunch and
Grab
trading
it.
in the car, but too much work.
Yeah, because I rode I had a Ninja, no fairing. That thing, even at 60 degrees,
It's cold.
it's fucking cold.
It's cold.
And then the wind, because my bike, it's old. It's kind of beat to shit. It's missing the fairings on the right side of it. So it's basically like half a naked bike. And so riding on the highway with the wind blowing, that thing is sketchy, dude. It's a parachute. Catches all the wind. Last time I
any
rode
bike
it.
is just, I mean, unless you're heading like straight into it or it's at
Yeah.
your back, like any bike, you're going to get blown around on it.
I almost got thrown into the median the last time I rode it.
Nice.
Yeah.
That's safe.
Yeah, the wind picked me up. I legit was like holding onto the bike. I felt like the wind was picking the bike off the ground. I was turning the
It's so unenjoyable
bars and it wasn't doing anything.
to ride a bike in this state
Yeah.
at most of the roads, at least around here.
Yeah.
Because like the most danger I've ever been in on that bike was hitting it wasn't like a pothole. It was just a giant bump in the road. I don't know if a tree root caused it or something, but it was like a peak in the road almost that I hit going like 60, like heading home. And both tires off the ground, blew out one of the fork seals.
Oh, fuck,
I didn't
yeah.
even know. I took it to work the next day, and my whole, like, I was wearing khakis.
Covered
My
in
whole, like,
oil.
left leg was just soaked in sun. I was like, what the fuck? I'm looking at it, I'm like, oh shit, that's what happened. And then I saw it, like, leaking onto the brake caliper.
Oh.
And I was like, we got to stop that
That's a
immediately.
problem.
So I covered that up, took it to a dealership after work. But yeah, the most danger I've been in. And other drivers suck here. Like, I've
Yeah.
had some close calls,
Holy.
but that was the closest I got to actually wiping out on it, was because of the fucking roads here.
Yeah, the most danger I've ever been in was because of another driver. Though I was
That's
riding in a big
typical,
group, and drunk guy in an F-150 pulls out in front of one of the guys in the group we were riding in and fucking killed him.
Damn.
Oh my god.
Yeah,
I won't lie, group rides, the laws are optional.
very optional. It's
I've
almost
tailed-
mandatory
I've
to
tailed a
disobey
few.
them.
I left bike night a while ago someplace, and I saw like 30 dudes rolling out, and me and my boy were like, let's see what they get up to, and immediately pulling out. Stop signs, red lights mean nothing, and like I lost them at the first stop sign. I was like, oh, that's how we're playing. Because there are cars coming, and they're like, fuck it.
Were they running blockers?
No,
Yeah,
well, some do.
Some like to assume that position, but it's not designated. Some like doing that. Depends on the intersection and how fast we're going. it
All
seemed.
the groups I've
I
ridden
lost
in,
them after the first red light. I was like, you guys
We
are
don't.
fucking nuts. I know exactly how this is gonna go.
Yeah, I ride in mostly sport bike groups, so
Yeah.
it's
There's a good mix here.
We're flying a lot of
But
the time.
yeah, when you see dudes pushing like 100 in a pack of like a dozen plus down, like right here by, you're like, you guys are out of your fucking mind.
Fucking
Yep.
insane, dude.
Yeah, the craziest group ride. I was we went to Flint,
Oh shit.
and we took Argentine on the
Was
way
that
there.
for Bikes on the Bricks?
Yeah. We took Argentine Road pretty much all the way up, like through Linden and all that. But we were doing Argentine Road gets a little bit twisty, but we're like weaving in and out of traffic, blind corners, like 140 mile an hour, and we get like the cops called on us in Linden. They have like the entirety of Linden PD like
two
lining
of
Main
them.
Street. Yeah, there's like they have
Pride
like
and joy.
they have Chargers, like pretty much all Chargers. There was not
Yeah.
a single Explorer that we saw, but there was like 8 of them lining Main Street as we rolled through. None of them pulled out because they knew we would just take off, but they were just like, hey.
You outnumber them like 3-1. Yeah.
Yeah. We were riding, it was like, well, we had like a group of 10, I think. Not a huge group. But yeah, I miss it. I haven't
fun.
ridden in 2 years. I miss riding in groups. But it was always like there's wheelies everywhere.
Oh, yeah.
And crazy shit.
Oh yeah.
And like I said, we've, a lot of close calls, and then one dude, actually ended up, head-onning the
That was enough
side
for you
of a
then?
truck. Yeah.
That's more than fair.
Yeah, it was like one of the last times I rode. I did ride like in smaller groups after that, but it was like I stopped doing the, at least down like big stretches of like where there's parking lots and where people are gonna pull out. I stopped like bombing it, but like I'll still do twisties. I go fast.
Hold
on
that
twisties.
thought. Our surprise guest is here. Let's run
All
down.
right.
It's like a Fruity Pebbles cereal. That's pretty good.
Yeah.
For
In
their,
what?
their protein powder.
Oh, protein powder.
Yeah.
Okay, well, we're back. We're live. We took a break. The mystery guest is here. I will let you introduce yourself, sir, who you are, what you want to talk about, what you do, what you've done, whatever you're comfortable sharing. Floor is yours.
This is Dutch. It's been a wild ride, man. When I sit and I reflect on everything that I've been through in my life, it's very difficult to try to converge all the different things, especially right now. The eclipse really brought everything together into a fulcrum in my life. The GWAT and what happened on 9/11 and all the different things that have converged since then with cellular technology and the Patriot Act and what Afghanistan is, what Iraq is in the Middle East and our country. And I see people that have no perspective at all in reality saying, I am Hamas. And these people have no idea the level of violence that people on this planet are willing to do to other people. Like we're so comfortable in this country right now that I'm so comfortable that I don't have anything else to do but complain. And it's unreal to me, man. So I grew up in Michigan. I love Michigan. I've been commanded by my Lord and Savior to come back to Michigan, regardless of living in South Carolina. I miss it there a lot, but this is my home. This is kind of like, it's been like a convenient thing to be living in this state as far as holding 10% of the Earth's fresh water. It's like a tactical, it's like the most tactical landmark on the planet, you know. But I was in my sophomore year of high school in history class when they turned the TVs on and that the tower was just like smoldering. And I didn't get it, dude. Like I didn't understand. Like I was watching it and I was like, okay, like a plane hit a tower. Like what's the big deal, dude? And like at that time in my life, like I had like old school chocolate chip camo wallpaper. Like I legit, like my mom like got me wallpaper that was like camo wallpaper up to the borderline, and then I had like caution tape borderline, and then OD green. Like my whole ceiling was OD green, like my walls were OD green, and then like the north wall was the Marine Corps, and the south wall was the Air Force, and the east wall was the Army, and the west wall was the Navy, you know. And I had like
certainly wasn't primed, yeah.
No, you know what I'm saying. And like I made contact with like all of the recruiters, you know, and I knew from every like my first thought of what I could conceive of what I wanted to do with my life, I wanted to be a warrior. You know, I was involved in a drive-by shooting when I was 3 years old.
Holy shit.
I was and this is like one of my stories that I tell. Like, it's one of like the foundational realities of my life. So like after I went through all of my therapy after I got out of the Marine Corps, and I didn't know what was wrong with me. Like I couldn't figure out, like some days I like couldn't even like tie my shoes. Like I'm not even kidding. It was so weird. Like I would like look at my shoes, like trying to get ready in the morning, and like my brain was like, what do I do with these? It was weird, dude. So, in the interest of like wanting to figure out like what was wrong with me so that it could be fixed so that I could get my life back, I'm like, well, I should probably go and talk to the subject matter experts and get a diagnosis of what is going on with me. If I have BPD, like I need to figure it out. If I am manic, like if I am schizophrenic, like I need to have them put me under a lens and a microscope and figure out like what's going on, right? And through this process, I've done a lot of it's called prolonged exposure therapy.
Oh yeah.
We have to talk about the same event over and over and over again. And then like my interest in Eastern religion and meditation and different modalities of that kind of stuff, I've done a lot. Thank you. Had the gun pointed right at my chest.
Like, I should probably turn that.
I was distracted by the Aquafina bottle and the gun pointed right at my chest. I didn't know which is more lethal, because the Aquafina logo is pointed directly at me as well, and I'm also afraid. Yeah.
Oh shit!
I digress. But you know, I've done a tremendous amount of like in-depth mindfulness meditation and like exploring my memories, like concentrated. Everything's isolated. Sound is off. Even different frequencies, you know, going into my headphones and exploring guided meditation, like where have I been and what have I done and how did I become the person that I am today? And like my very first memory that I have in my life, and this is like foundational because like none of you would know me if this wasn't the fact, and none of you would like me. I don't know if you guys do or not, but none of you would. I wouldn't be here with you guys if this wasn't a fact. But I remember I was picking my brother up my mom was picking my brother up from basketball practice, and my parents accepted Christ as their savior in their late 20s, early 30s, and like they just went like ham, dude.
Went in.
Like full in. Like my sister had to wear ankle length gowns and wrist length shirts, and like we weren't allowed to listen to the radio. Wasn't allowed to
Devil
watch
music,
TV.
yeah.
Like they broke all their Led Zeppelin records, which they totally regret now because they would be like worth a lot of money. And they're not like that anymore. But we were all in private school, and my brother. He's a big guy, man. He's 6'4", and so like, hey, do you play basketball? I'm going to stab you if you ask me that again. But coincidentally, at that time, he was playing basketball, and I was like crawling around on the floorboard of the passenger seat, and like up to this point, like we had gone to church like 5 days a week, every like, and twice on Sunday, and Christ calls us to have childlike faith, just like, yeah, oh, that's true, cool, okay, and like I remember, so for 3 years. I was hearing about this dude. All right. And as you guys so eloquently said in the last episode, not this white guy. You know what I mean? Like, and I like really wanted to know him. Like I was compelled at a young age to like get to know this dude. And, I'm like, Mom, I like remember this. I remember like I don't remember like the specific words, but I was like, Mom, I really want to know Jesus. Like, I really want to know who he is. And she's like, well, like you've heard it a lot. Like, that's all you got to do is fold your hands and tell him like God, I admit that I'm a sinner and I need a Lord and Savior. And I appreciate the fact that you sent your son to die on the cross for our sins. And I want you to come into my heart and wash my soul white as snow and be with me forever. And I was like, okay. And I like folded my hands and I did that. And it makes me emotional thinking about it. But that's like my first memory in life, man. So like, I think like when in the meditations, you go into this mirror and like the mirror, you're like looking at yourself in the mirror, and the mirror is your whole entire life. And the mirror gets broken, and like each and every fragment of the mirror is your life up to that point. And like you're like standing over the mirror and you look at like the bigger chunks, and like the bigger chunks you go into, and that's like the bigger chunks are the longer movies. The smaller shards are just like, they call them fractal memories. And like the biggest fractal memory that stands out is there's this closet in my house before that. So I had to be like 2, and I would open the closet and my dad's dress greens from the army were hanging there. And like, I remember like his ribbons and his badges and stuff. And I was like, that's what I'm going to do with my life.
Damn.
For sure. And then moving forward from the time that I accepted Christ, the next big memory that I have, you guys know that White Castle that's on the corner of 696 and Gratiot?
Yes.
That's been there like since the dawn of time.
Uh-huh.
So my family went out to eat. Like we used to live over there in Roseville, and my family went out to eat, and we shuffled into the booth, and like my dad is like super goofy dude, like really nice guy. So like at that point he would have been like throwing the burgers to everybody, and like my brother went in, and then my sister went in. I was the last one in the booth, and my mom went in on the other side, so like closest to. So this would be not that it's relevant to the podcast, but for you guys, it would be the west side of the building, and the north end would have been 696. So Gratiot was to the west, 696 was to the north. And the drive-through comes up around on that northwest corner. And as my dad like slid in, he like stopped doing what he was doing, and he like was like fixated out the window. And like a lot of stuff in life is nonverbal communication, especially at that age. Like little girls at that age are like doing algebra and like complex mathematical equations, and little boys are like, So I was watching my dad, and I've done a lot of, and like the older I get, I'll find myself just like sitting like my dad or standing like my dad. And like I'll be standing, and like, boom, my dad's image will flash in my head. I'm like, I'm doing that just like my like little like that. Like I noticed that my dad like goes and just like sucks air in through his mouth. I'm like, why am I doing that now?
Yeah, dad noises.
So he's looking out the window, and in this memory, in this meditation, like this dude was bigger than you, man, like massive, and he was wearing this like black Carhartt jacket and these like dark wash blue jeans, and he's like standing on the corner, and this like G-body Monte Carlo or something pulls up on the corner of the drive-thru, and the guy like leans into the car, and he's like talking to the guy in the car, and he like slap hands with the guy in the car, and the car drives away. And then a couple minutes later, like another car pulls up and he slaps hands with the guy in the car and the car drives away. And like, I didn't even know, like subconsciously incompetent. Like I didn't even know the questions I asked my dad. Like I just saw that he was upset. And then after a couple minutes or whatever, like he let it go and like, okay, now we're eating, right? And then we're eating. And then pop, 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 5 shots ring out. 3 of the shots hit the guy center mass to the chest. One of the shots hit the window, like right over where my family was eating, and the other one embedded into the concrete. Car pops the curb, hops on a grass shit, dips on 696, and like as this happening, like my dad kind of like put his arms around our family and like pulled us from the table, and all the other I don't know why there was so many people in this White Castle at like, I don't know, like 6 o'clock on a Tuesday or whatever. But we all jumped behind the counter. Like everybody was freaking out, dude. We didn't know if there was going to be like more shots or, you know, and the guy's like laying on the ground, like bleeding out, like wriggling around on the ground. And like, when I think back in this memory, the reason why I remember it so clearly is because like up to that point, I don't know if you guys know the story of Siddhartha, like the Buddha.
It's been a minute.
And like how he became the Buddha. So like his dad was a super rich and powerful king. And they had this like massive kingdom of like gold, and like everything was sterile and clean and beautiful. And he believed that if he could like eliminate suffering from his kid, if the kid like never had to experience any suffering, then he would become this god, this like super enlightened being that he didn't comprehend suffering, so there could be no suffering, right? And like they had the best intention. He had the best intention behind that. He wasn't doing it for nefarious reasons or anything like that. But like one day there was this festival and a dancer fell and hurt herself, and like they tried to like rush her off, and like but Siddhartha had already seen it, and he was like, what was that? Like, and they tried to like cover it up and like not have him like see what happened, but it was too late. Like he was like no, that was weird, that was wrong, I don't get that, I need to understand. And like he ended up like looking outside the palace walls and seeing just like pestilence and famine and disease and crime, and he like saw himself in this golden palace, and he like felt horrible about his life and about himself, you know? So he embarked on this like quest of suffering. It's to gain enlightenment through suffering, you know? So like at that time of my life, my parents had done so much, because my dad was in the projects. He grew up in the projects in Detroit in the 40s and 50s and 60s, like crazy time, you know? So he worked for Chrysler for almost 4 decades, like long time, you know. So he tried. He that was the time in Michigan where you could get a job with a GED at Chrysler and end up making 6 figures, you know, if you stayed dedicated to them. You can't do that anymore.
And retire with a pension.
Yeah.
And gold, and be able to take 2 vacations a year.
What's that word you said?
Pension. Yeah, what the
Pension?
hell?
I know, it's a foreign
is
word
that?
nowadays. Yeah. It used to be you used to, you know, give your loyalty and your dedication to a company, and they would take care of you. And now it's,
What do they call seniority? Oh yeah, seniority. Oh yeah. I thought it's like work. Don't like now you work for a job for 3 years, and then you work for another job for 3 years. You know?
Pretty much.
But so like after that had happened, like I didn't understand fear. I didn't understand drugs. I didn't understand drug dealers. I didn't understand violence. I didn't understand crime. I was sheltered from that, like 100% in this little bubble that my parents had created for my brother, sister, and I. So like as this deadly force encounter is happening, I wasn't like ducking down, like covering my head and like, like what's going on? Like I was like, whoa, what is this, dude? And I'm just like consciously eyes wide open, observing, taking all this data in, and like the adrenaline and dopamine release and like norepinephrine and stuff was like surging through my body at 3. Like, I'm like, why is he grabbing us? Why are we jumping behind the counter? This is cool. Everybody's cowered down behind the counter. Like what? And like and like 1 cop car showed up, and then 3 cop cars showed up, and then like the whole building got surrounded. EMTs, fire department, detectives, like crime scene tape, like all this, and like we were stuck there. We couldn't leave. Right. So like me, I'm like all this data is pouring into my being at this young age. Mm-hmm. So like, despite my parents' greatest efforts to like keep me sheltered and not have, and like Roseville is not a bad place, man. Like it's not the hood. There's parts of Royal Oak that are bad. You know what I'm saying? There's parts of wherever, there's parts of Birmingham, Rochester, Lapeer County, you know, that are bad, you know. so like that wasn't like a bad. They tried really hard to like bring us out, like so that we didn't have to grow up in Detroit. You know, that's like my dad's goal and mission. And like we're at dinner at White Castle, this dude gets 3 to the chest, and you know, so I like had so many questions, like what is this? What happened? And they like tried to cover it. Like I'm like, nah, dude, I understand what this is. So like embarked on this quest of just martial arts and, you know, obviously the great paintball and Joe's Army Navy and Arc Surplus and chocolate chip camis and just like H harnesses and Alice packs and like, what are you going to be for Halloween this year? A soldier. Like, I'm either going to be a ninja or a soldier. Like, I was Patrick Picard one year. Like, I got this like fake like bald head with like we glued like hair on it, but like every year it was like soldier or ninja. You know, and it's never changed, man. Like my whole entire life. So.
Well, God damn.
You know,
Thank you for sharing that.
yeah, man.
That's deep, powerful. I think what you said about you're identifying that you need to go speak to an expert. And let me know if it's too warm in here. I can open up doors more, get more cross breeze going.
We have just endured the depths of Michigan winter. I am not going to complain at all. If you want to fight, complain to me about how warm it is. Okay? Iraq and Afghanistan combat vet.
Yeah, there you go.
But you're identifying that, you know, there's something going on, you don't know what it is, and you need to go to an expert and put that under a microscope. I think is very, maybe not telling, but I at least think it's very interesting taking that and comparing it to what you do now, at least in the realm that we interact with you in, and that's instruction and teaching. Because in a way, at least when I looked at the courses offered by CQT, and I do want to talk about CQT more because I think they're doing amazing things over there and they deserve a lot of attention.
It's an island. It's an island, man. It's an oasis.
I knew nothing about, you know, CQB ever before taking that class. And I've only heard a lot of really polarizing opinions and things talked about online. I've seen the cool guy videos and all that stuff. And I realized I don't know what this is. I know just based on the general understanding of how it goes, like it's going to be a lot of just getting hammered on it, getting dissected, getting picked apart, because I'm going to start with absolutely zero knowledge. That's something I know I want to learn. That's something I know I want to do. I think that sort of, it just is very telling about you to be like, I need to dissect this, but also knowing that I can also teach this stuff to people who want to get dissected as well. I think that's very cool.
It took a lot, man. It took me losing absolutely everything. Like I lost absolutely everything. And I'm like, well, you can keep on doing this or you can fix it. Like and like somebody had to say this to me, like, and all of it's so cliche, man. Like not all wounds are visible. It's true,
though,
man.
yeah.
It's true. And in our culture in this country today, it is used as a crutch and it's an excuse and people find their identity in it. Quite the opposite for me, man. Like if I needed to know, like, give me an MRI and tell me what ligament is torn so that we can fix it and repair it. Like give me a diagnosis and then give me a course of action to take to fix it. So like through the study, I only have post-traumatic stress disorder. Like, is it unfortunate that I have post-traumatic stress disorder? Yes. Mm-hmm. But like, I think about it like this, like if you can go through the things that I've been through and see the things that I've seen and like, okay, cool. And like carry on with your life. That's a mental disorder.
That's not
like,
normal. Yeah.
It's not, that's sociopathic, narcissistic, like really like deep. Whoa, dude. Like you saw that and you're just Gucci afterwards. Like that's, you know, so like I was relieved. I knew I didn't want to believe it because they like train us how to do our job and just like take it on the chin and push forward, right? Like you're a Marine, suck it up, push. You got to go back on patrol. You got to go back on post. Like get over it, you know?
Be a man, yeah.
Right, you know, but so like after that happened, I had a course of action moving forward, right? How do I fix this? You know, what is cognitive behavioral therapy? What is prolonged exposure therapy? And like, let me dive into this and learn these skills. I mean, tactics, techniques, and procedures on how to deal with this and how to live with this. And dude, honestly, man, this is tough for me to talk about without getting emotional.
You're fine.
I don't know what I would do without my dog, man. Mm-hmm. Like, I was going through such a dark time, and they wanted to put me on medication, and I was like, no. And let's talk about that for a minute, man.
Oh, we can talk about that.
Let's say
I've talked about
pills.
this.
I've got a big gripe with pills.
Bro, like the medical
Pharmaceutical industrial complex.
dude, like on top of all the other aspects and elements of this dark legacy that is covering everything, it's never gonna win. Like, so first of all, like, dude, it's already written. Like, these people that, like, okay, to each their own, man. Like, if you identify as a Satanist, you're identifying that there's God and the devil, and that the devil loses. Like, if you could, like, foresee a sports game, right, and you knew that team was going to lose, like, you
still
somehow,
pick the Cleveland
and you're like,
Browns,
I'm going to pick the losers. Like, bro, like, what are you, whatever, dude. But, like, so I told my, so if for people that don't know, I'm not trying to speak over anybody. Some people I didn't know. Okay. So a psychologist is somebody that can help you with your mind. A psychiatrist is somebody that can dispense medicine, right? So a psychiatrist has the authority to dispense medicine. A psychologist does not, right? So after all my psychologists and everything, and like kind of like, with some of my injuries that I went through, like I was doing all my therapy, reached kind of this limit of advance, and like wasn't getting better. Like I'm still not functioning. Like, I still can't figure out how to do life. I'm doing everything that you guys are asking me to, and I'm still not functioning, and like I'm still losing my life. Like, I was alive but losing my life. And so, like, Wellbutrin. Let's talk about Wellbutrin for a little bit. And like, I love this, like, the studies say it's fine. Oh, it's good. You can take it. It's just for smoking cessation. It's not a big deal. And then like 5 years later, these studies come out, and it's like the Satan. Like, it's so horrible for people. The adverse effects of it are like so bad. And then, rewind back to my life, right? It's like I told my psychiatrist, like, I'm not taking medicine. I need to do if I'm not eating my proper diet, doing yoga, praying, meditating, reading my Bible, doing all the things that I need to do in my life, I'm not putting this garbage in my body. Like, I would need to exhaust every other outcome beside. And she's like, again, like, she's like, it's so, and you're going to the VA, like, let's try not to stay away from that conversation, right? And like, you're going to the VA, and you have no other outlet to heal and get better, right? Like, there's nothing else that they provide for you. Like, you have no choice. And I'm driving all over Hell's Half Acre in order to get there and to go to my appointments. Like, that was like, this is the one thing in my life that I need to focus on to balance so I can heal. So I'm putting my trust and faith in this person, and they like paint this picture that it's like, it's so mild. It's like it's so mild for you. And she like coaxed me and lulled me into it. And I was like, hands up in the air, dude. Just like, I surrender. Like, okay, doc, like, whatever, dude. You talked me into it. Like, I'll take it. Okay. And dude, I have never been suicidal in my whole entire life. Like I'm not from here. My soul is not from here. I do not belong here. And I long for being out of this flesh suit, right? And like being able to transcend and be infinite again. I mean, I still am now. We are now. But we're trapped into this simulation or whatever. But I've never wanted to take myself out of the fight. Like God created me wholly and uniquely and specially, like, just so I can accomplish his mission that he set me out on. I'm not gonna abandon that mission. It's not gonna happen, right? And like, it's actually quite flattering, like, how hard the devil tries to ruin me. And like Denzel Washington said that. He's like, thieves don't break into empty homes. If there weren't something holy inside you, the devil wouldn't be after you. Like, if your life is going good, like, you're really, like, you better like be alert, because you're doing something wrong, because the devil's not messing with you. And stand by, because he's the ultimate sniper. Like, he doesn't have to sleep. He doesn't have to go to the bathroom. He doesn't have to eat. He doesn't have to, like, he's timeless. He can sit there behind his night force and like take that, again, flat earther, Coriolis effect, the spin and curvature of the Earth. For everybody out there, you have to calculate that into a long shot, okay? You know, but he'll just wait and wait and wait to get you. And like, why are you trying so hard to ruin me if I'm not a threat to you? Like, so I'm obviously a threat to one of the most powerful beings that's ever been created. And it's like, okay, cool, I'm on the right path, you know? So I started taking Wellbutrin, and I was living with my mom, and the first day, man, it was like so difficult to like try to recall and remember. But like, long story short, man, after a week of taking this stuff, and they told me there's going to be like an adjustment phase to where like my neurochemistry had to like adapt to it. And dude, I have never felt like this before in my whole entire life. Like, it felt like this dark, like it felt like if you can shine a light into a corner and it illuminates the light, like it felt like somebody was like 700 billion, the opposite of whatever candela is, like beaming dark energy and like into my, and like I couldn't, like there was no light, dude. And it's crazy to me because my psychiatrist didn't tell me that she was going out of town for 2 weeks.
Oh.
So I was like calling the VA, like, what, like, yo, like, I am not okay. Like, I am not. And they're like, honey, we told you, it's just an adjustment phase. Like, you have to stay on it. Like, there is this minimum time that and then the clouds will break free and you'll see the sun again. Okay. And I'm like, okay. I'm like on the phone, like bawling my eyes out. Like, this is not okay. Like, I do not feel okay. Like, I don't know what would have happened if I wouldn't have been living with my mom, dude. You know, and like had that love. Like, my mom is such a good woman, you know. And I went another week and I was like, yeah, right.
Done.
Like, I had like open the cap, flush it down the toilet.
Good.
You know, and when she got back and I went into her office, I'm so happy that she didn't call security on me, dude. I'm serious, dude. Like, I think she had known that she had messed up. And she is like, you guys were saying, like, once you reach this tax bracket, like, you're not attracted to adults anymore. Like, she is that being. Like, she was like this, like, pompous, like, zero. Man, she's a psychiatrist for the Veterans Administration, and she has, like, no emotion, right? Just like this, like, Medusa, dude, you know? And I remember I had my hands in my head in my palm and my head in my hands, and I'm just sobbing, weeping. Like, I don't know what's wrong with me. I'm never going to get any better. I'm doing everything that you guys are asking me to do. Like, I'm trying. I put my faith in you. I started taking this stuff and it sent me worse than I ever had. Like, how dare you? What do you want me to do? You guys did this to me. You fix it. Please fix it. And she goes, well, what if I prescribe you a dog? And dude, that the clouds breaking, sun coming through the clouds, everything stopped. Like, everything in my life stopped. And I remember, like, I stopped crying, and I still had my head in my hands, and I was like, what did you just say? She goes, what if I prescribe you a dog? And I took my head up, and I remember because I was like kind of like in the fetal position on the chair with my feet on the ground, kind of like rocking with my head in my hands. And I stopped when she said it, and I looked up and I said, "Did you say prescribe me a dog?" And she's like, "Yeah, like a service dog." And I'm like, "Yeah, but you're saying prescribe." And she's like, "Yeah, it's a prosthetic. It's a medical device. It's an extension of yourself." And dude, like from that day forward, my life has never been the same, man. My dog saved my life, dude. And like every day, dude, when I wake up, like I started this like 6 months ago. So shout out to Taylor Kavanaugh, man. T-Cav, dude. Like, I listen to everybody, man. Shipley, Jocko, I mean, Sean Ryan, Mike Ritland. I mean, it's just like mainline IV drip all day, every day. Like, I need these guys in my life. So like, shout out to you guys, man. Thank you so much for what you guys do, man. But I started really working on honing in my morning routine, and it's still hot garbage. But like the one thing that I have locked in, so like I hate like
we'll see how we'll see how well that holds up here. I'm guessing it's not as bad as you think.
it's nothing where I need it to be. I want it to be a 2-hour structure thing before I'm out the door, and it's definitely like wake up and trip over things and then like stumble out the door and then get to work and everything slows down, you know. But like, so like no matter what, like no ifs, ands, or buts, man. Like for the past 6 months, as soon as my consciousness hits me. So first of all, if my alarm goes off, if I'm waking up to my alarm, that's the only contact that I have with my phone. It's not like if I have a missed text, if I have some type of stimulus that the Dark Legacy wants me to see on my phone, like I'm shutting my alarm off, and then I'm immediately hands and knees, forehead pressed to the ground, hands pressed to the ground, meditating consciously on the Lord's Prayer. Right? Every word. Our Father, who is in heaven. Holy is your name. Your kingdom come. And I'm like visualizing like his kingdom coming here, and like your will be done on earth as it is in heaven. Like God, just today give me what I need. Like I know that you're going to provide. Just give me today what I need, and let me not think about anything else. So give me this day my daily bread, and forgive us. So I go through the whole thing. But before I do that, man, so my dog, if I was having night terrors, right, or if I was having some type of like hardcore biological stimulus happen in my body where stress hormones were produced, I would have to conserve the article of clothing that I was wearing or the pillow. So that stress hormone would be like that scent, that pheromone of that stress hormone would be on that pillow or that article of clothing. And immediately I'd have to put it in a Ziploc bag. And then in our training, through him being a service dog, when he would smell that hormone, he would do it. He would react, right? And like learn to be able to smell and indicate off that hormone, right? So they can literally, especially Malinois, like I have a Belgian Malinois as a service dog. Like he's not normal, dude. Like it doesn't make any sense, you know. And he's good. He's a good service dog, dude. And I brought him into the program. I didn't get him from the program. Like we can get into that, but so like as I'm waking up, he smells that I'm waking up. So like whatever state of being he is in, like he already knows that I'm waking up before I'm waking up, right? And it's evolved to this thing that like as soon as I'm conscious, and like the momentum of my wheels start to turn, and like I'm getting and I'm thinking, and I'm coming out of my remote view for 4 or 6 or 8 hours or whatever. I open my arms wide, I'm laying on my back. And I open my arms out wide and I say, Bubba, hugs. And he gets up and he walks over to me. Like he usually has his feet like on the side, and he falls on my body. I just hug him, man. And he talks. He's and I'm doing this. I'm like, I love you, Bubba. I love you so much, man. And I'm hugging him. I'm saying, Lord, thank you for another day with this dude. Thank you for my life, no matter how hard it gets, no matter how hard the struggles are. Like, thank you for my day with this dude, and thank you for giving me another opportunity to hang out with him. You know, and like my female dude is a crack raptor, man. So like, but she gives him his space. Sometimes like this morning, she was trying to weasel in on the cuddles, bro. But like she's sitting there waiting, and like so like Buddy gets sick of it, and like he'll get up and get a toy, and he like immediately wants to bring me a toy, and then my female like fur missile shoots into my armpit, and she just and like she like headbutts me, like she stabbed me in the eye with her paw this morning. I thought I was bleeding, and I same thing. I hug her and I say, Lord, thank you so much for this day. I thank you so much for this opportunity to be with these guys and the love that they show me, even though I don't have, the woman and the money and all the stupid stuff that doesn't matter at all. Like, thank you for the presence of these DOGs spelled backwards in my life. And then as soon as she gets up and chases him with the toy, I hit my hands and knees and I hit the Lord's Prayer. It's changed my life, man.
I don't know why you said that's a bullshit morning routine. That's pretty solid.
No, because like I want to hit my Mike Tyson push-ups. I want to hit my visualization.
Sure.
I want to like make my French press coffee. I want to go into my manifestation and go into my daily log of things that I have to accomplish, go into my stretching, go into my 20-minute recovery walk, or like startup walks, and hit my pull-up bar and take care of my chickens. And I have this like
Chickens?
yeah.
Oh, good for you. That's sweet.
Yep. Like I want it to be like click, 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 click. And the thing that's frustrating about it is I've lived a life like that. Like, dude, when I was in Iraq, I knew that I had to go to the bathroom before I had to go to the bathroom. Like I knew like this is time. And like as soon as I sat down, like boop, there it was. Like there was no like wasting time. Like I have to sit here and like think about it and scroll on my phone. Like it was boom, boom, boom. And my life was routine and set like that. And after I got back from that theater and came back, like my life was like that. Like our training schedule, and like what we do in the Marine Corps, like I knew like my whole workup, like they give us our whole workup, like what we're going to be doing. We have to share it with our wives and structure our lives around the workup. You know what I mean? It's like I know that I'm capable of that life, and it's haunting me right now because I don't have that. I'm better than I've ever been, but I'm nothing of where I need to be.
Sure.
And I don't know, I think most men that want to be good men feel like that about their lives.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. What do you guys think? I don't know.
Yeah. Because we were just talking about that when I got here, because I was saying that I'm like not where I want to be at all, getting closer, but there's always room for improvement.
A lot of that's financial too, though. At the same time,
it's true.
And that's,
Financial, and then I'm feeling like, for me, if I were a lot of it's time based because I'm at work for 80 hours a week, so it's trying to find time to fit that morning routine in, unless you want to sleep for 2 hours.
And just like mainline ghost.
Exactly. And you've got
Well,
a way
that'll kill you
busier
quickly,
schedule than
yeah.
me because you work same hours that I work, and then you're also teaching classes at CQT and doing all this other stuff, and then you got to make time with your dogs, especially because Malinois, they need a lot of attention. Because they got to like feel that bond, and so you got to spend time with them to get that bond down and all that. So
They want to do the work.
Yeah, they're work
yes,
dogs.
they do.
Yeah, they
All
wanna do
work
the work.
dogs have to have something to do, or they will tear your shit up.
Destroy the
Fuck
house.
your
Oh, yeah.
shit up.
Yeah, they have to work.
You can't let them get bored. They'll chew a hole in the drywall trying to get into the next room.
Our relationship with dogs, man, throughout history is it's so deep. So like dogs, horses, and concrete. Like if we didn't have dogs, if we didn't have horses, and we didn't have concrete, like what would our lives be like? It's really like trivia kind of think about,
Well,
It's
the
almost
Huns would have
undeserved.
had a harder time with things.
yeah, that's true. Yeah, but it's almost undeserved. Humanity doesn't deserve half of what it has. It really doesn't.
I say the majority of people who don't appreciate it or just
They don't-
actively abuse it
they don't respect
definitely
it.
make it hard
It's
to
a
make the
respect
argument.
thing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely.
I can't help but believe in angels and demons. I mean, there's some force here, dude, that like it doesn't make any sense to me. Like that scene in Batman Begins when Alfred's talking to Bruce Wayne. He's like, some men just want to watch the world burn. Like some men don't care about diamonds and gold, and like they just want to watch people hurt. And like I cannot empathize with that, man. Like some people just like to see people in pain. It's the complete opposite of like when I see a little kid running and laughing and like it's the cutest thing, dude. When I see my dogs playing, it's like the cutest thing. Some people see that and they hate it, dude. And especially if like you're from XYZ culture and they see that person's culture like flourishing, it like makes them like, and it's so bad. And a lot of it is just like based off the level of melanin in their skin. Like, or their
Or lack thereof.
you know what I mean, or their sexual orientation, like who
Just
they,
the imaginary line they were born across from.
dude,
Yeah.
it's so like
Because you can't look at other people as human. They have to, make some sort of border or difference to, make themselves feel superior or, that
Well,
the
and I
other-
think today it all really boils down to a tremendous lack of purpose. I think a lot of people, when you look at what they do every day, day in and day out, most people go in front of a computer, click in a couple spreadsheets, and that doesn't really contribute to a whole lot in what goes on in the world and meaningful. All the stuff that matters and what doesn't matter. I think a lot of people lack that sense of purpose in their lives. I'm not saying you have to do that in your job too, but after they get home from that job, they're working 8 hours in front of a computer. What are they going to do? They're going to sit down in front of a television, watch football or something for the next 3 hours or so, fill their bodies up with crap, go to bed, do it all the next day. And so they just need something that is some sort of semblance of purpose. And if it is othering somebody, so that you have an us versus them, so your team's the good guys, you got to root against the bad guys, no matter what that is. I think people latch onto that so fucking quickly, and I think that's a big part of it.
Good observation. Yeah.
And now with the internet and everything, like you can join a group of other people that feel the same way about it.
Yeah.
Like oh, there's other people like you're ordering your pizza with mushrooms and anchovies and black olives, which means you want like the Pizzagate thing is so insidious, dude. It's so insidious. Like when I learned, like I didn't even know what it meant. Like when I hear those kinds of like words, like I didn't learn about it. Like I'm subconsciously incompetent intentionally about it. And like when I hear that kind of stuff, like QAnon and stuff, like I have no idea what it is. Like I don't want to know. Like I'm intentionally like purposeful willingness, ignorance about that kind of stuff. I should probably learn a little bit about it, but I don't. But like some stimulus entered my mind and I learned what Pizzagate actually was. And they were like the toppings on the pizza is how they were ordering the children.
Oh, Christ.
Oh yeah, you didn't know that either?
No.
Oh yeah.
I'm not entirely sure I believe all of that. I guarantee you there is some sort of a menu for ordering up your children, but I doubt that it's a fucking pizza menu, and it's most certainly not at a fucking pizza joint in DC.
I like to believe it is, though.
I think that
I certainly like to think it is right there.
I think that throughout history you have people in power do fucked up shit, and they always will. And they'll constantly cloak it in whatever they need to in order to hide it from the masses because they know it's not what they should be doing. But I don't think that there's like a pizza menu where you're getting,
Not anymore.
CP. Sure, CP stands for cheese pizza, also stands for, child porn.
Yeah.
And that's just convenient.
No, it's like the same thing, man. Like until I was in Afghanistan, knowing what pararescue was, I didn't know what pararescue was. And like pararescue, tactical air controllers, the Air Force special operations community is ridiculous, man. And like everybody's like, ooh, the chair force. Your level, bro, like Garantham, dude.
You was supposed
Like,
to say JTAC, or he was TAC P too, but
you know, so it's like the level of ignorance. But the reason why I went down that rabbit hole is like, if you've heard about it, it's irrelevant. It's the stuff that you don't hear about. Like, I'm close with a guy that is because I've met a couple since I've met him. One of the top 3 spookiest people I've ever met in my whole entire life. Like the stuff that I'm told about this person's life and the places that this person has went and the capabilities that this person has as a line company, infantry, Marine, like deliberate action. Everything is dynamic. We are banging every room. Like we are breaching. We're clearing. Like right side clear, left side doorway, checking overhead clear. Like hate and discontent, speed, surprise, violence of action. Like with the 4 to 8 to 12 to the 30-man team, element, like hitting targets hard, coming in on birds, like a guy on a blue passport with a credit card eliminating an asset that like nobody even knows about, and like he's already back in the States by the time they find the body type stuff, like by yourself with no like care package, no support, no QRF, like no one's coming to save you. And if you die, like we are going to ostracize you and say that you were there for nefarious reasons type stuff. Like, whoa. So like I didn't even know, like you don't even know what you don't know. Like I didn't even know that there was like this stuff was going on, and it's en masse. Like the DIA, the CIA, and like their elements of their special forces people. Like the word CIA is such a blanket statement. It's like white guy. Like don't call me white, bro. Stop like insulting my ancestral heritage. Like, and like when people call people black, it like infuriates me. Like, that's an ancient being, dude. And you're gonna like sum it up to black or white, like CIA, like the CIA, the FBI. Are there elements of the FBI that are doing bad things? There's elements of everything that are doing bad things, but the FBI also keeps our country as safe as like we are so spoiled here, man. And like the propaganda machine has caused us to want to hate the thing that keeps us safe. And I've fallen victim of it too, dude. You know, and I mean, minus ATF, they can, you know what I'm saying? But like, you know, so it's. I don't know, man. I don't know. You don't know what you don't know until you know it. And again, I digress about the ATF thing, man. Like there are certain organizations that like should not have the kind of weaponry that they have, and the ATF does do good things with taking them out of the equation. Like, let's be real about it. Like, we need that agency. Just some of the elements that it's being used for, like it's not supposed to be used against us, like the good guys. It's supposed to be used against the bad guys.
Like the targeted raids and
The monitoring of parents at school board meetings.
Yeah, that kind of stuff, man, for sure. And like the pistol brace ban. You know what I'm saying? Like that like tell me the amount of crimes where they're using short-barreled, fully automatic, suppressed like weapons and crimes.
At the time when suppressors were originally banned, less than 1% of all gun crimes were committed with a suppressor. It was just some dumb fuck congressman who tried to make a name for himself by saying they're scary. Yeah,
just because they were brought up as gangsters had suppressors and Tommy guns, and you can't let those type of people have it, even though it's based off of fictional bullshit.
And this goes back to the problem with, like, you know, not only our representatives but also people in the agencies. Like, there are some people like you and the boys that you ran with who are like the most qualified to potentially run and sit in the seats that they do sit in. But most of these seats, that's not how you get those seats. You don't get those seats by being the most qualified and by proving yourself with a solid resume. Yeah, it's through dick sucking, popularity contest, promising the most money to, you know, investors and kickbacks and whatnot. Yeah.
You lobby for your position.
Yeah.
I have never ran knee pads. I have never ran knee pads, man. Like I tried it for like the first month when I was in the fleet, and I was like, the chafing on the back of my kneecaps is not worth the support that it gives my kneecaps. Yep. Like, I do not like.
We believe you.
Prove it, right?
Although I don't know, some of the conversations I've seen you and Scoundrel have, it makes me a little bit skeptical.
Can you blame me?
No, he is kind of hot.
And he gets free beer too.
He like PNW Gorilla wants to be Scoundrel. Like, that's what's actually happening. You know what I'm saying? It's not the opposite.
Is he a ginger?
Yeah, I mean, I think he's got this. I think he's got the ginger beard. Yeah, but not the hair.
I was about to say he's brunette, but he's got a ginger beard.
My ginger crush is Blake Water.
Oh yeah.
Just that beard, and he's just smart as fuck. But he's constantly red. The motherfucker needs some sunscreen badly.
He does gear stuff on YouTube and Instagram and stuff.
But that's one of the things about it, man. Like the level of comfortability that you have to have with your dudes, man. Like and be able to have each other's backs, like regardless of that. And it's being in the Marine Corps. I mean, the Marine Corps is the let me choose my words wisely. It's the things that happen on different levels of masculinity, whatever you want to call it, man. Like, you got to be open with each other about everything. Like, we ain't got time for that. You know, you can't hide who you are. That's how people get killed. Yep. You know, and like, we have to be able to be comfortable and joke with one another in all aspects, man. Like, there can be no shots pulled, you know. So it's meeting you guys and being a part, like being able to facilitate what I'm able to facilitate through the owner of Close Quarters Tactical, and what we do there has been, like, aside from my service dog, like, that place saved my life, dude. And again, like no matter what, my family, like, from family first, God first, family first, right? Like, they're the reason why I'm here. right? But my dog, like more like physical, like not trans. My dog transcends spiritual as well, but like CQT and the like helping me feel okay with being alive, like that I deserve to be alive, like what I am able to do there for y'all and for everybody that comes there. It's the highest honor that I've ever been given in my life, man. Like it's the highest honor, and like being able to meet y'all and establish the community that we have and do the things that we do and joke around, like it's the closest. It's like a supplement to what I did in the Marine Corps.
I believe that, yeah.
Yeah.
And as far as like offerings anywhere near here, there's nothing like that place.
No.
Especially on define the level of offerings and what you guys can do in an indoor facility like that, just local, it's unmatched to anything around here.
So you guys missed it this week. So we are finishing up our 5th series of Advanced CQB League. So these guys it's 5-week sessions. And so these guys have taken 25. So they did the one in the beginning. So before it was like beginner advanced, it was just CQB League. And then 5 advanced after that. So these guys have done like 30 runs. Right? They've been doing like 30 different weeks, dedicated, no ifs, ands, or buts. So the facilitator, we'll just call him the facilitator. That's a pretty cool name for him, right? Decided to give these guys an opportunity to do low explosive breaching.
Oh, hell yeah.
This past week. And these guys were like, dude, this rivals my marriage day, my wedding day, and the day that my child was born. And you got these guys, man, and it's like for me it's especially at today's age, man, and it's so sad. Like, not everybody wants to join the military. Not everybody wants to work for this administration. Not everybody wants to go and fight for the conflicts that we are like paying our tax dollars, unfortunately, in order to facilitate. I'm not going to fight for that. That's not honorable. That's not just. And that's why 22 veterans a day are committing suicide in the United States. Because like they look back and they're like, dude, what did we do? What did I do?
Yeah.
What did I do? And you can't take it back. Right. So like a lot of people, these guys that have worked their whole lives, they're in their like whatever, however old they are, 20s, 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s, and they want to run kit and they want to run gear and they want to do this stuff. Like slow is smooth, smooth is fast, fast is sexy. Right. And like nobody is doing it to look sexy. I mean, maybe Scoundrel. Right. But like, I think
looking good is the number one rule.
Dude, yeah,
know what you're doing is the second one.
Yeah. Let's go. But the thing about it is like 100% seriousness. Like we all don't want to look like clowns.
Yeah.
Like we all like, we want to do it the right way. And when it's the right way, it's sexy. When it's slow, it's calculated, so it's smooth. The movements are precise. And when it's smooth and the movements are precise, man, it's fast. And when it's fast, dude, it is sexy. It's as the Camaro is on the 67 Camaro is on the screen. Yeah. Right? And it looks so freaking good. And these guys, they're putting their trust and faith in myself and the facilitator and what we do there, and like being able to make a 50-year-old man feel like a kid on the playground is like this is the best day of my life. Like this is one of the best days of my life, and like God allowed me to be able to help with that. Like what else in the world is there? You know what I mean? Like it's so cool to be able to do that for you guys, man. So
it is definitely one of the coolest things I've ever done, is being able.
And we just did the beginner.
Yeah.
It's still one of the coolest things I've ever done.
Yeah, and I don't know that there's another like public live fire shoot house in this region, like not even in Michigan, but like in the Midwest.
There's not, and the fact that like every single seat is not filled. Like there's not people like camping out in the parking lot waiting for our doors to open every day. So I taught CPL yesterday, right? So I did a CPL class. There was 12 people. Why do we have our CPLs?
Protection.
It's a shield.
Because mommy and daddy says you have to.
Yeah. So I don't wind up in an 8x8. That's the
Right.
only reason.
Right.
With if there was a constitutional carry, I would carry.
Yep.
But I think that does leave the door open to there is no education about firearms outside of you having to go and find it yourself. It's easier to get a gun than it's you can buy a gun just as easy as you can buy a car, right?
Well, I mean, the rectal examination has been, the blood tests and stuff that you have to do now has been, quite frustrating. But
Man, what stores are you going to, and where are they?
But
this is the only one.
I'm the one to take my pants off. That's crazy.
but it's one of my biggest gripes is that you have to go through some sort of training, testing to get a car. You have to be able to demonstrate your skills on the road. But to purchase a firearm, you just walk in, you pass the background check, which
Nowadays.
a lot of people will, and you just put your money on the table, and they give you something that's capable of taking a life, and you're not required to demonstrate a proficiency or even an understanding of the tool that you're using.
I'm so happy that you said that, man. Like, I just got this epiphany not too long ago, and it's like one of those like epiphanies that I'm getting pretty often. Every time I eat the red Crayola, boom, it's there. Right?
I thought the blue ones did that.
The blue ones do different things.
For 4 hours.
Right.
So
Depending on how many you eat.
Go to the hospital. If it's longer than 6, go to the
they
hospital.
had to jab it with a needle, dude. It was crazy. But like, what do you need to have a car?
License.
And
Registration and insurance.
insurance.
Yeah.
USCCA, dude. Like, I don't care what brand you go through. USCCA, man. I have not, and I get it. Like, well, they didn't help that person. Whatever, dude. The parameters of the success stories and failures. Remember how we were talking about good people and elements? Like, they popped a meth lab in the barracks next to mine. Right? There's bad Marines. There's good Marines. There's bad Marines. There's good parts of the USCCA. There's bad parts of the USCCA. There's good and bad parts of everything, man.
At least
but
it's not the NRA.
dude, you know what I mean? But like the fact that the government makes you have insurance to operate a motor vehicle, so they make you have a license, they make you have a registration, they make you have insurance. And this probably shouldn't be talked about because we're gonna start ideas that probably it's a violation of our constitutional rights that we even have to have a CPL.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah.
Or that 100%. But if we go back in the Constitution, like what was happening at the time, every military-aged male after church had to train in the town square, with their weapons, like it was part of the militia, like you had to, right? It was.
They were viewed as more than weapons back then too, because it's what put food on your table.
It's
what protected your livestock from predators.
That's it.
And so you were taught it at a young age. You had to, you had to be the second gun behind your dad or behind your mom or whoever. And as we become more civilized, more condensed into cities and whatnot, it becomes less and less. You don't need it, right? You go out in the country. When you and I were going to high school, because you and I are the elders in the room, out in the sticks, there were kids still bringing their deer shotguns, or their deer rifles, or 22s in their fucking pickup trucks to school.
I mean, when I was going to school, it was
who knew?
still happening. I mean, they had to,
And
it was
Devin
it wasn't
lives
legal,
more in the sticks.
but tuck them under the seats. But it's the same thing out where I live. There's not a person I don't think that I know personally that hasn't shot a firearm out where I'm from.
That part when you guys were talking about the things that you were finding in people's vehicles.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Like, that is it. Like, I forgot that was even in there, man. Oh, man, I'm happy I found that one.
Yeah, especially out in Stockbridge. Holy, dude. The people out there, all farmers, they're all, kind of fuddy, a lot of them. But it's there's just guns laying about. Like, you get in somebody's car, and there's
Brush
guns
those
in the
off.
seats.
You know what's funny is you can make fun of people like that and make those accents and stuff, but that's not racist.
Yeah, they're white.
You know
Yeah.
what I'm saying? It's wild, bro.
The even funnier part is I cannot, for the life of me, do a black accent. Like
Shit.
inner city can't do it. I can't understand Ebonics. I bet all of you in here can. I can't understand it.
I've been around it a bit. I can understand a bit of it. Yeah.
It's like-
I can't get any of it.
Does not have the neurochemistry to process the data.
Nope.
Oh no.
Born and raised in Farmville, baby.
Oh no.
As it should be, though.
Yeah.
As it should be.
But you know, like going back, like the only reason why if there was constitutional carry across the board, like nobody would train.
No.
It's one of the things that I've been realizing lately, man. Like I was in church a couple of weeks ago, and like I gauge, like, and you guys can't see the setting. It would be cool if we can eventually get to the point where we have cameras, but like, because this is a really beautiful setting, it's really cool. Like this is really cool, like that hot tub, everything. Like it's really cool.
They
right?
don't clean that. It's a piece of shit. the new owners here suck.
You know, but like. Everything is a luxury. Like everything in our lives are luxury, and when that luxury gets taken away, you have to fight. And today is a luxury. Like this country, this state of the union, as bad as they make us want to see it as, this is a luxury to be like sitting here, like sipping this coffee, hanging out with you guys and doing this. This technology is luxury. Our lives are a luxury. And like, I base my life and my success on, you know, not by corruptible things like silver and gold. And I feel like such a failure in my life because of my lack of provision for my family. Like I want to buy my dad a Corvette. I want to buy my mom a Solstice. Like I want to get her like a tuned Solstice, you know, and like I can't. And I feel like garbage about myself for that. But like God doesn't see our value in that kind of stuff. He actually hates it. You know, I believe. But wisdom is such a value. Like that is God's currency, man. Like King Solomon, like wisdom is God's currency. And look, I'm not trying to judge anybody, man. Like people might think I'm the dumbest person on the world for what I'm into. And like, I try not to judge people and think but like, bro, like Jake Paul is probably going to knock out Mike Tyson. Like he probably is. They're probably he probably is, man. And they're probably practicing it over and 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 over.
Like at least.
You know, but like look at us like seething. Like I can't wait to see that fight, dude. I don't want to watch it. You know, like I will not watch things on Amazon Prime. I won't. I will not order anything up. I'm like, oh look, I want a badge for that. Nobody cares. I'm not doing it, dude.
I want to watch the Fallout series so fucking bad, but I don't have Amazon.
You know, but like,
I fucking love Fallout, but I'm not going to pay for it.
You know, but like I for me, in my opinion, he's like deleting his Amazon account.
Pulled up that really quickly. Yeah.
but like I'm grateful that I am not like I was in the checkout line at CVS yesterday, and it's a salve, okay, it's a cream, right? But like I was looking at the Taylor Swift magazines, and I'm like, who is
Careful, this guy fights for Taylor Swift.
He will kill.
Who is buying this?
Have you bought it?
Who is
Really?
Who is buying
It's
this?
bread and circuses. Bread and circuses. If you give people something else to focus on and give them that dopamine
I'm
rush.
not. And I feel so bad about myself because I don't have XYZ type scenario. And I'm like recently, like very recently in my life, finally gaining the emotional maturity to be like, bro, like you're doing all right, man. Like you might not have all these gold, like this stuff, this monetary stuff, and this like this entrepreneurial success or like life wealth. But dude, you're not buying the Taylor Swift magazine. I think that's like, for me, that's more worth it than all this other stuff. I might be dumb for that.
No, it's legitimate. I mean, capitalism and the society and the culture that we have right now measures happiness in dollars and cents.
You know,
versus mental health and you know the wealth of your community, you know, who you choose to be your community, not necessarily the place where you reside so much, but it's a lot of us versus them. That's how corporations make money, because my neighbor just got a new car, I have to have a new car because it looks like shit.
That preys a lot on going back to the lack of purpose, but also there's a widespread sort of sense of false empowerment and what like real strength and like what real power is, I think. And when you see people, you know, defending like Taylor Swift to the death online because of how much she's done for women, and you go ahead and you ask that person, okay, what the fuck has she done for you? She's done nothing for you, right? Okay, maybe she's done something for you. But then again, you see like the people who are, you know, in their khakis and their blue polos, the white nationalists walking down the street too. You're not empowered. Look at the people you're surrounding with. Look at your fucking community. That's not power. You're not empowered by that either. And so I think all that sort of blends together really well. Those people lacking purpose lash on to something else that gives them a purpose. You're othering the other, which is people with darker skin tones. And you surround yourself with other people because you think that empowers you. And off you go, marching through the streets of Tennessee or whatever the fuck it is.
Columbia University.
Yeah.
Richmond,
and
Virginia.
It's
Richmond.
it's not even. It's a very small part of the population that truly does do that. I think for the most part, people generally sit back and, you know, whatever they do, you know, in the privacy of their own homes. It's unfortunate though that the voices of the people who lack the most purpose and who have the largest sense of false empowerment are the loudest, or their voices are brought to the forefront by whatever social media algorithm, you know, mainstream news is, because again, that's the most inflammatory thing. People are going to talk about it, whether you hate it or you love it. Thus, the Taylor Swift magazines front and center at the checkout line.
The printing press. You could blame a lot of this on the printing press. I'm not going to. The internet being
The Industrial Revolution and its consequences.
It does, and I think we're currently working our way through those. But it used to be dumb ideas got shut down in your community, right? If you were, not all communities, because everybody has a community. There's a community for everybody, I believe. You know, as fucked up, as dangerous as, you know, some of these people are.
They're called minor attracted persons.
Yeah.
And I like Lululemon too.
Oh, sorry about that. I was looking for the MAP Festival. Is this the MAP Festival? Wonderful. I brought some Lululemon. Oh, you love Lululemon. Great, well, let me show you what I got.
So there you go. You know, all these people who find their communities, you know, whether it be for nefarious purposes or whatnot.
Wood chipper.
But what you have is it used to be, dumb ideas used to be shut down. You didn't have a platform for that. But the internet has given everybody a platform and everybody a voice.
Except us.
This episode will get us close to getting
it's so dumb. You even post a Nerf gun now, or even just say the word airsoft in an Instagram post, and immediately your account is flagged. It cannot be shown to non-followers unless you delete the post that was tied to regulated goods, they call it now.
Okay, spicy take. As I hate fucking corporations, I hate businesses. That's their fucking right. That's their right. You follow their guidelines, or you get the fuck off. Now, an argument can be made. An argument can be made for sure for maybe Twitter, or X, formerly known as Twitter. That fucking shit show.
The artist formerly known as
the new town square. Because the First Amendment right grants you the right to say whatever the fuck you want to say, and the government can't shut you down. If you want to go into the town square and scream about flat Earth or transgender or whatever, that's your right. That's your right. You will not be shut down by that. Assuming that you've filed for the proper permits and you stay in your little 4x4 fucking box and scream your head off. But it's... I forgot where we were going with that.
Well, I have this vision that, they're trying to program the AI. They're trying to feed it a certain dialect.
The AI is going to kill us.
I'm
the most efficient thing.
So, dude,
you can buy one for $10,000.
Boston Dynamics, bro. Like, I've been watching that since day one.
Terminator,
Skynet, dude. Yeah. You know, but like the thing about it is like it's almost. I don't know if it's good or bad because like I really think Zuckerberg might be a white hat. Do you guys know what a white hat is?
It's like the good
Good
guy
cowboy.
hackers.
You think he's a good
Disguised
cowboy?
as
Yeah.
he's like disguised. He's like everybody thinks he's the devil, right? But
Wow,
he's
that'd be
actually
a twist.
He's actually so like
Mr.
him.
Reptile Man
So like he overtly is building that bunker in Hawaii,
A lot of people are though too.
but he's
Peter
he's
Thiel, I was gonna say,
overtly.
Lynn.
Like you can
Like
go
so
on
he's
and like
he's
look up
he's
the
like letting
coordinates.
people know like, look, y'all, stand by, stand fast. Like he could have done that totally in secrecy, but he chose not to, right? So like if and I with so like the freedom of speech can get you crucified, right? If there is no freedom of speech, then you can't be crucified by it, right? So like this AI, like being able to say whatever you want to say is not always a good thing, dude. So like I feel like by him suppressing certain voices, he's actually saving people from crucifying themselves, right? Like you're not allowed to say that. So
I think you
so that
have to let people do that.
I 100% agree. It's natural selection,
Exactly.
right?
I was
But he's
literally just about
but
to say
he's
that.
he's trying like look, dude. If you're not if it's impossible for you to say this, the AI will never be able to send that JDAM to your door. Like you won't be on that list, you know.
Oh, you think he's that forward thinking?
You know, like the swarm bots, the swarm drones, like won't have your pineal gland on log. You know what I mean? Like the facial recognition
I
software.
like
this
because
giant helicopter shit.
because I know that I can't even come on this platform to say this, so I'm not even going to try.
I
Right?
think
So
we're assuming
we're
he's not solely driven by money.
He is.
well,
You don't steal ideas. You don't steal ideas.
Senator,
and
Senator.
sell them as your own.
Senator, respectfully, Senator,
have
right?
before.
So
Taking
like
your time
like
back.
I killed my time.
right like you know I we're assuming that he's human.
Oh, yeah, I mean, I am just, yeah.
Like that's one of the things that I think that we all have wrong, and that like whatever happened. So like this conversation's fun, trying to determine how old the Earth is,
Oh, yeah.
and like protons, neutrons, electrons, like 5G, like Prince of the Power of the Air. When you look up at the sky at night and you see all of those stars, and like you can't count them because there's so many, and the stars are our sun because our sun is a star, and like you have to have some type of semblance of reality of like some things are real, like not everything is a psyop. I mean, it probably is, right? But like the life cycle of a star, like how long the life cycle of a star is, and
Trillions
trying
of
to
years.
comprehend that, and like looking up and seeing like some of the light that is reaching me from that star is already dead because it's so far away that it took that long for that light to get here.
Yeah.
And like, where do we fit into this equation?
I
Like,
try not to think about that because it fucks me up.
we're miracles.
Yeah.
We are statistical improbabilities. This day, this podcast, us sitting here having this conversation is a statistical anomaly. It doesn't exist. It's impossible. Our friendships, if you guys, you know, if I can be so bold, right, do not exist. CQT existing in the timeline of infinite, and us being in that county at that time, me being the instructor, you guys being in the financial status to be able to drive there and take those courses, and it evolved to this, it's impossible. Right. And like one of the like staggering things to think about is like they say, right, there's 7 billion people alive on the planet today. So how many people died today? How many people were born today? 7 billion. So 14 billion, 28 billion, math for Marines, you know,
I think
you know, 50,
they had
50, 50,
3.6
50
million children born in 2023 in the United States.
So a tenth of the
article I
population.
read
the die-off rate. So
Friday.
like at Marine Corps Recruit Depot, Paris Island, right? When I got done, I think if I remember correctly, there was 14 down weeks out of the year. So how many weeks are in a year?
52.
Right. So there's 52 weeks in the year. So out of those 52, there's only 14 where a new class of Marines is not graduating. So every single Thursday, boom, 750, 750, 750, 750. And like every day, many are getting out, and they're trying to, the monitors are trying to like keep that number, right, to the homogenous, like whatever they need to the demands of the Marine Corps, right? And like every day people are here and every day people are gone. So if you look at like right now, there's 7 billion people on the planet. How many people have existed since the dawn of time? So like trying to find, if you write 7 billion out in a Word document, if you do and you put 7 billion ones to try to find one unique one inside of 7 billion, scrolling through that text document, it would take you on average 35 to 50 lifetimes to find that one. Like, it's a statistical impossibility. Right, but there's 7 billion today, so it's a statistical improbability within that 7 billion, but that 7 billion is actually like trillions. Right, so for us to even be here, like, it's a statistical impossibility. Right, so like, how can we not step into that? Like, how can we live our lives like knowing that and that? Like, I'm too stupid to be this dumb to make this up, dude. You know what I mean?
You're talking TED Talk numbers right now.
Dude, you know, like, so it's like, I how can I not step into that? Like, how dare I be depressed? How dare I be depressed? How dare I feel sad about myself? I do, right? But how dare I? And like, stepping into that moment of clarity, no matter how long it lasts for. That's like one of my favorite things to do in the world, is actually get to the class, right? Like, all the stuff leading up to seeing you guys. Like, there's days I don't want to go. There's days that I have so much other stuff going on in my life that's getting neglected because of trying to meet the demands of what I feel I need to get to, that my whole life is going to crap, but I need to be here for you guys. Right. And until that convergence happens, and now I'm teaching, right? Or knowledge transfer specialist, DJ Shipley. That was one of the wisest things you've ever said. I've ever heard a man say. This episode better be recording right now. And when he said, I am not an instructor, I'm a knowledge transfer specialist, my third eye went like catapulted to the ends of the galaxy and snapped back into my reality. I'm like, I am not a teacher, dude. I am a knowledge transfer specialist. I had not come up with any of this stuff. And when he said that, and for a guy like him, like, I don't want to call him a guy. Like, I don't know what he is, dude, right? I don't know what he is. Probably not human. I don't know, man, right? But for a guy like him to say that, it was like, whoa, dude. You know? So, like, I getting into that moment, like, once I'm in there and I'm with you guys and I'm transferring that knowledge and that data set to you, I'm not thinking about any of that stuff anymore. Like, how hard is it to get to the gym sometimes? Like, those days with, like, when you don't want to go to the gym and you get there and you crush, like, you get down, you're like, oh, let's go. Like, you feel like indomitable. That's why it's such, like, the cold plunge in the morning, and that, like, doing the most difficult thing the first part of your day, and like suffering like the first part of your day. It's like, okay, what next?
Yep. What could be worse than that?
You know, so that's what I'm talking about. My morning routine being hot garbage. Like, I had my 110 gallon Rubbermaid container on the back of my porch, and I was doing it, and like, I was doing it consistently, and the benefits that I was reaping were so good, but I succumbed to the comfortable complacency of not doing it, and now I have to get in the habit of doing it again.
Back to your perspective, though, and just your perspective in general. You know, all the ones on the sheet of paper. I think that's something, and I'll get back to your other perspectives on some other things too we just talked about a little later. But that's something that gets completely disregarded, I think, through social media, because social media makes it so funneled and so small. You see one thing,
fatal funnel, fatal funnel, fatal front.
Yes, fatal front, exactly. You see one thing on a square with zero context. You don't know anything about the background of the people involved. You don't know anything outside of the little, 2x2 inch square that it's playing on, and immediately, boom, you have an opinion. You hate that person for that reason. Yep. And then taking that and applying it to other things you said some things that were actually quite inflammatory here. The ATF isn't all bad. The FBI isn't all bad. The government isn't all bad. And there are people in there that you're right. They are not the child predators. They are not the people who are trying to disarm us. They aren't the people who are,
shooting your dog,
kicking your door down and shooting your dog. Yeah, there are, every organization is going to have good people, and broad brushing them, not a great idea. I do think having an anti-government sentiment is always historically a good idea, but I think that's an important thing to remember too. It's not black and white when it comes to human problems. Humans are going to be, it's always gray. It's always going to be messy. It's never going to be clear cut. And that makes a lot of people uncomfortable. And so it's very easy, myself included, I fall into the trap of just broad brushing it like they're all fucking monsters, nuke them all and just call it a day sort of thing when it comes to government agencies. So,
yeah. I like to try to, like, when I'm getting super worked up about certain issues or whatever, I always try to get myself to zoom out. Like, you know, you're all in your world. It's like everything's super important, right? Zoom out. You are, I mean, I'm a fairly pessimistic person, but I mean, you are a bacteria on a ball of mud flying through space. Zoom out further. You can't even see it. So when you're super worked up about, you know, your coffee was made wrong this morning. Your eggs
I hope you
were
like the coffee, by the way.
It's really good.
it is good coffee. Your eggs were a little bit overcooked. Zoom out.
Dude, man.
That's one of the things that I've tried super hard to do, because like I'm a mechanic. Working on people's vehicles is the worst thing I think you could probably subject yourself to. Like working on other people's shit day in and day out every day is like horrendous.
It's thankless. It's like,
It is.
I brought this to you like this. It better be like this
Yeah.
when I'm done.
Exactly. And it's awful. But when I'm having a really bad day at work, I did an alignment on Wednesday. It took me 5 hours.
What is it normally?
I can get an alignment done on a
2.
car that's not a pile of shit in like half an hour.
Oh, wow.
Like
What kind
this
of car?
car
What
took
kind
me
of car?
5 hours. It was a
It's a Ford.
no, it was
Oh,
a Chrysler.
you watch your whore mouth.
It was a
I'm a Ford boy
Chrysler.
myself.
It was a Dodge Caliber.
Oh, there you go.
wow.
Yeah.
And so
Not
we
an
had to
SRT.
put, no, it was awful. We had to put like rear adjustable control arms and shit on it. Awful. Took me way too long. And I am getting so angry to the point where like my boss comes out and he just asks me like how much longer I'm going to be on it. And I snapped. And I'm like, zoom out. Zoom out. I'm doing a 5-hour alignment, yes. But bacteria on a ball of mud through space. Why am I so worked up about it? Why?
Because it's affecting you personally.
Exactly.
And that's,
But
you
in
know,
the grand scheme of my entire life, like right now, I don't care that I did that alignment. Like, why did I care so much then? I get paid hourly. It doesn't make any difference whether I take 5 hours or 10 hours or 3 days to do it. I get paid the same. Why am I so worked up about it? Zoom out.
That's one of the things that I admire a lot about the SEAL community. You know, be cool. You know, the Marine Corps is so like violence of action, and like look at Marine Corps drill instructors, dude. Like I was on Paris Island as a combat instructor, field training instructor for 4 years, for 4 years, man. And like being a Paris Island Marine as a recruit, and then going back to recruit, and then going back there and getting to be an instructor, and like. Dude, like, and actually get to laugh, like, bold, but like, ha, 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 at that kid as he's getting thrashed when, like, you were a recruit, and, bro, and get to laugh at the stuff that the drill instructor said, like, at that kid's face, you know, but, like that whole mentality and like Tufel Hunden and what Devil Dog means, and like that trench warfare and amphibious landing force, and like what the Marine Corps did, and like why Marines are the Marines the way that they are, like and like that's so like neurologically integrated into my being that like when I see like the SEALs that I've worked with and like the guys that I've worked with, they're just so cool. They're so cool. Like Jocko, good.
Yeah.
You know, like good. Just like I'm like, be cool, dude. Chill out. Have a slice of mellow pie and chill out, dude. You know, like it's not that like bad, you know, and I really admire that. That's something that I've really been praying. Like I don't really set resolutions, but that's something that I really prayed for in 2024 that the Lord would give me. It's like I was doing these visualizations. Dude, this one was deep, right? So I was standing on the edge of a soccer field or like a football field, right? And I'm like looking out over this field, and I saw this like ghost image, and this dude was like floating, and like it was this like being that was like shifting and changing, and it had like it was a man, but like it was kind of like wisping like dust in the wind, and he was screaming and like rah, 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 like just like screaming at the opposed. Like you had the right side of the field at like home team, and then the left side of the field, which like with the away team, and he was like coming from the home team, and his like mouth was like like opening huge wide, and like his teeth were gnashing, and then like the other one came from the other side, and he was like gnashing, and it was like this one was this color, and this was like this vision, so it wasn't actual like it was all like a manifestation of the visualization that God was bringing to me. And then another one populated next to the guy on the right side, and then another one populated next to the guy on the left side, and like this, it gained this like huge swarm, and they were getting closer, and like it came to be like thousands and 10,000s of these beings, and their mouths were just like opening like 5 feet wide, and they had these huge teeth, and like spit was coming out of their mouth, like up to the point, like going back to the drill instructor thing, like drill instructors sometimes scream so loud that their vocal cords rupture and they start spitting blood out at recruits, and they keep screaming, right, and that's like what it was like. And like the armies on the right and left side like grew closer and closer, and they were coming up to the 0 yard line, right, and they were like building and building, and like I was standing on outside of the field, like my toes were like right on the chalk line of the field, and I like my body was like a rev limiter, like launch control, and I was like dang 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 dang, and then like I was like, what side do I choose? Yeah, listen to this guy. Oh look at this side, and I was like, you got to pick a team. You got, like, what do you? And like I was about to step over the line, like. The two teams got super duper close together, but they hadn't reached that convergence to where they were actually making physical contact. And like I saw them getting super close, and I knew that they were about to actually make physical contact with one another. And once one of them made contact, it couldn't be undone. Like it was all just words and hurling words and verbalization, but no contact had been made. And like I had this like sense of urgency, like, dude, you have to help one side. Like they're gonna make convergence and they're gonna harm one another. Like you gotta pick. And I like picked my foot up, and I was about to step over the line, and I felt Christ put his arms around me, and he was like, dude, you're not part of this. I got you. Settle down. And I just like was overcome with this peace, man, and this like solidarity that I am not part, you are not part of what's happening. Calm down. If you let yourself get all up at arms, no pun intended, you know, and pick this side or pick that side, you are going to die in a battle that you do not belong to. Mm-hmm. You're fighting a battle that's been already won, bro. Like, settle down and just let me hold you. And it was amazing, dude. And like I like this, it was like this vision, dude. And like I got done with this, and I was like, the message that I took from it was, you need to learn how to get your emotions under control at all times, no matter what. Right. And like in the Matrix, like I think the Matrix is deep, dude. Like surface level and beyond. Like so like when agents take over somebody's body, like I really believe that like kind of stuff happens. Like especially if you're like blue pilled or whatever, like not to put a label on it, you know what I mean? But if like that dude, he's eating the lobster dinner, or he's eating the steak, and he's like, I know this steak isn't real. Then I know that I'm contributing to the negative part, but like the steak is good, and I like I'm gonna go back into them and forget everything. I forget this is real, and I'm gonna subscribe to their agenda. Or and I feel like a lot of people like you know, getting back, and you know, my girl that I was with for a long time, you know, left me a few months ago, and like it really messed me up, man. And like getting back into the dating scene and like seeing what's out there, like that's one of the reasons why I miss her so bad. Like my arrogance and my ignorance of like being with her, and like the tiny, and this makes me emotional too, dude, like the tiny little things that I thought I didn't like about her, dude, I would trade forever again to have her back based on what is out there. Like, dude, it's so bad. Like, how are you going to, like, your profile image, you have to have the pentagram with the goat head behind you. Mm-hmm. Like, you have to like rep that you're on the losing team, you know? But like the fact of the matter is that some guys are looking for that. Like, and like, I didn't know that, dude. Like I've been with her for 4 years, so I haven't been on the dating scene and had to scroll and see this. So like the 4 years, so I was with her like pre-COVID, like right when like we met during COVID. So like I haven't seen the aftermath of our society, and I'm like very naive. I'm so busy that I don't go out. I don't like all these. I guess there was like a party happening in Detroit this past weekend.
NFL draft.
Is that what it was, dude? Flex that I didn't know that was going on. Like big flex that I legitimately didn't know. And I guess like everybody was going down there for it. Like
They set draft records for
attendance.
The first day was like 250,000 people. The second day was like 270,000.
Imagine if people were this passionate about things that actually mattered.
Right.
So like, it's like what's out there is just it's so bad, man. But it's like, so I got some work done on my sleeve, right? And like my tattoo artist, man, like, dude, props to Big Top Tattoo and Dan Rick, man. Whoa. With my art, like it's on my body forever, and like there's a part of me that like hopes and believes and dreams that I can take it with me to heaven. Like I want it to be like neon. Like when my spirit goes on, I hope it like blasts and like it's like radiant, like whoosh, like the Super Saiyan like waves are coming off of my tattoos when I like achieve my spiritual body. Hopefully, probably not going to happen, but it's cool vision to think about, But like with him, like, he does not give me the option of being like, well, I want this and I want this, and he'll be like, okay, bye. Like he's like one of the most enlightened beings I've ever met in my life. But like he's very like he doesn't have time for like he has achieved his dream and he is living his dream, and he is not going to let anything get in the way of that. Yeah. Right. So he's like not going to let me dictate. Like I told him what I want, but like he's like, leave it up to me.
Yeah.
Right. And like we had a break, and I like went to the bathroom, and I like had this really, really cool epiphany. So like when he's tattooing me, like I didn't tell him what color I wanted. I didn't tell him what weapons I wanted him to be holding. Like he put a tiger pelt on this dude and a leopard pelt on this dude, and I didn't even know it was happening. Right. And like, I am the tiger, right? I am, and like cats and big cats are like really, really fascinating to me, right? And the demons are wearing the skin of the tiger and the leopard. I didn't know he was going to do that. So I'm like just sitting there, like letting him tattoo me. And then like we're having this really super deep conversation. And like I'm totally unattached, because I know that if I just let him, if I don't try to micromanage what he's doing with the tattoo, and I just let him tattoo me, what the end piece of artwork is going to be so much better than anything that I could have imagined. And I was in the bathroom, and I was like, God was like, bro, will you just let me tattoo you? Like, stop trying to put this here and this there. I've tried so hard to like put this here and this there and this here. And when it doesn't happen in my life, I get so butthurt, dude. And then like, when I just let him do his thing, it ends up being so much better than I could have possibly imagined. Like having a podcast has been one of my dreams for so long, dude. Like Joe Rogan, Adam Carolla, like the pioneers of it, dude. Like I've wanted to do it since then. I just haven't been able to do it. And like thinking about like the money for the mics and like learning the software and stuff. And like no matter what happens, like I'm a guest here today, but like I didn't have to invite, like they could make the investment. Cool, dude. You know what I mean? Like
I can send you all this. It's not bad, honestly.
But it's like what I have prepared for you is way doper than anything that you could try to construct with your life, And like going back, like totally digressing back to the CPL thing, right? The only reason why people take it is because mommy and daddy says they have to. Like they would not take this training. Like people, and like it's a false sense of security, man. Like it's a piece of paper, bro. Mm-hmm. Like your 4-count draw stroke, like is your life. Like that, the Tooler drill and the sub 1.5 second draw, like at 21 feet, that person at 21 feet, like that is your life, dude. If you can't do that, like you should know the gun. I'm not trying to should on people. I'm not trying to should. Like it's your Second Amendment right to own that gun. Mm-hmm. If you want to die, you can die. Like you can choose to die by being
someone else's life.
By being by being ill prepared, right? Unintentionally, know your threat when lies beyond it, right? Treat, never keep, no. And the fact that like again, like if you're going to violate people's rights, like why not make them write down, fill in the blank, 5 weapon safety rules before you can purchase a gun? You know, people might like want to assassinate me for saying that or whatever, but you know, like, so it's like,
It's less so about making sure that they're going to do it responsibly and more so of like a money grab.
That in a registration,
Yeah.
right? We want to know who you are and we want your money.
Yep.
You know, so like I want again, here's a big assassination, right? I want to figure out how to do everything as a nonprofit, right? I want to teach, I want to transfer knowledge as a nonprofit. You know, like I don't care about making the money. Like my other, the blessings that God has put in front of me, again, I just let him take the wheel, and he's given me a job that like I had a dream job that I didn't even know was a dream. Like I didn't even know that I could do what I'm doing. Like it didn't even make sense to me or like have a trajectory. And I like took myself out of the equation, and I ended up like, what? I do what for money? You know, like we used to be on like the Mark 19, like sending rounds downrange on the top of the turret, like when I'm looking over at my buddy, he's on a 50. He's like, dang, we're getting paid for this shit. You know what I mean? Like
The dollar's backed by this.
Yeah, 100%. And like it's the same. It's you know, and it's the same thing at work. It's like, dude, I'm getting paid for this. Like, is this even okay? Like, I feel guilty that
Feel like you're stealing, yeah.
you know. But the training aspect of it, man, like. And that's like the whole thing, like even with Christ, man, like evangelism and like trying to preach the word to people, dude. Like if people don't want to hear about it, bro, leave them alone. Leave them alone. Have I told you today about my Lord and Savior Jesus Christ and how He can save your soul and how He can save you from condemnation and blah 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 blah? Like, dude, like leave me alone, bro. Hey, do you want to have your CPL? Let me tell you how important it is to have your CPL. Hey, do you want to train? You need to train. Look, dude, you have to train. Your family's life depends on it. Like, you have to do this. If they don't want to, there's plenty of people that want to. Like, stop talking to the people about it that don't want anything to do with it. Like, stop trying to sell things to people that don't want to buy it. There's plenty of people that are lined up out the door to buy it, you know? And like, I think that like a lot of people, like, I can't remember, you guys told me, but I can't remember how you guys found out about our facility and what we do there. But like, I don't think people even know what we do. No. For some reason, like, I don't know like why they don't advertise. Maybe it's like I'm above my pay grade, right? It probably is. It definitely is, right? But like, why they don't promote that place more?
Are gun shops allowed to advertise?
Well, here's the thing. Like Donut and Brandon Herrera came there,
Yeah,
and went.
And it wasn't like, how was that not? I didn't know.
Bro,
until we were
like
about
it creeps me out a little bit.
Yeah.
Like why didn't they talk about it?
Right.
Like, why wasn't that one of their main episodes?
Like Donut being a cop, not saying, "Hey, this is a public
weird,
live
bro.
fire shoot house indoor that you can go
weird,
to train."
Bro. Like if they would have said a 5-minute plug about it,
30-second
we
plug.
would have people coming international for the next year, dude.
Interesting. When was this?
It was like end of last year.
Vivek Ramaswamy and Kolyan Newar had an interview in the pro shop.
Yep. The videos on there on the CQT YouTube channel.
And they did not say for 1 second, we're here at Close Quarters Tactical today in Shelby Township, Michigan.
Yep.
They just used our rental wall as the backdrop.
Interesting.
Very.
Apparently, I mean, clearly, that's weird as shit.
So like same thing. Like when I'm in the pro shop, like I have to tell people, do you know that we are a full firearms manufacturer? You see these guns that are CQT weapon systems. Like I have to grab people like
You did that after the first class. Check this shit out.
You know what I mean? Like I have to grab people by the back of their ears, like telepathically, and like, do you see that we are making? Like I have to shake it in their face, and they're still like, they don't get it. Like they don't get it.
Full
Like
CNC machine shop out back.
Yeah.
Like they cut slides. They manufacture AR uppers and lowers. They freaking
Cerakote, full Cerakote
everything.
shop. One-stop shop, dude. And we
Nobody talks about it.
And we offer the training and everything. And it's like, why is the paint on the walls like this? Like, why is the house in the condition that, like it should be people like coming from around the world, and like it should be almost what's the word I'm looking for?
A mecca for
Not a
gun enthusiasts.
not a chain, but like
Franchise.
a franchise. Yeah, and I think I believe that they are like attempting to franchise it.
I was about to say,
Nice.
wasn't there like another one getting
Tell them to
built?
buy out Target Sports right here.
I hope so. I
God.
I hope
think
so.
we should buy out Target Sports.
Like, and then again, like coming like the 22 veterans a day committing suicide type thing. Like, give guys a purpose, man. Like, and when they're going through SEPs and TAPs, like there should be organizations, and like it doesn't. Maybe there is. Maybe I'm just don't know about it. Right. That like, especially like JSOC and like guys in the special operations community, like they should be walking onto a job, end of active service, taking on these roles to train people. And it should be like federally funded.
Yeah.
I mean, if that's what they choose to do with their
Yeah.
life after their service. But I mean, I do think that
You can't
military
force them to do
service
it.
members are
Unless it's
are
bills,
not
apparently.
taken care of by the country that they give their lives for.
What'd you say?
Unless it's pills, apparently.
Dude, I'm telling you, man. Yeah, we'll give them the pills, but
Yeah.
But no, I mean, you're not wrong. You're not wrong to that respect. But it's like, I had to, and the reason why I resonate that hardcore is like I had to 100% detach myself from the community after I got out. Like I couldn't. So when you chew food, it's called masticate.
Yeah.
So like when you're like chewing food and it's turning and like your saliva is mixing with it so that you can
Breaking it down,
break it down and digest it. Like I could not masticate meat. I couldn't. Like God took away the ability for me to be able to chew meat. Like I would put meat in my mouth and I would get this.
Once a Marine, always a Marine.
This escalated quickly. This de-escalated quickly. But like seriously, like I would try to consume meat, and I wouldn't be able to eat it, right? Because like God put these visions in my head of what is happening to the animal as it was getting slaughtered. So like I watched some documentaries about like what some of like Tyson chicken and like some of these like meat factories, like how they treat the animals, bro. Those are conscious living beings, bro. My dogs are conscious living beings. My chickens are conscious living beings. My cat is like, we are all conscious living beings. Wait, we all have the spirit molecule in our bodies and we are connected to the source. And like, it's like Hindus with the cows, like they may be onto something. I don't know. Steak tastes really good. But like for a period of my life, like I could not chew meat because of the death that I had been exposed to. And I wanted to purify my karma. And God, like I wasn't going to do it on my own. So God like removed the ability to do it from me. And like I went total compassionate living. Wow. Because I couldn't deal with the trauma of the things that I perpetrated, the things that I did with my hands and the things that I saw and like the things that I knew got done by other units and other elements, you know, and like what the complex does. And I know it's for a reason, and I believe that God's in control of it, and it's all for a good. It is like this will all come to a fulcrum one day. There's nothing that any of us can do to stop it, you know. But like I had to detach myself from that life, and like once I healed from it, He gently brought me back, and gently brought me back, and gently brought me back. So like one of the craziest parts about this journey is. So landscape construction, landscape design and install is my like jam. Like nothing else in the world makes me as happy. Like when you finish a vehicle, especially if it's somebody that's destitute and they like really need this vehicle and like you fix it and your labor gets exchanged and they're like weeping and like grateful, like so thankful, especially if you have the opportunity to do it to give them a break on a deal. Like maybe if you take a hit on your own.
I was about to say our shop does that a lot.
Yeah,
'Cause
yeah.
A lot of people out there don't have any money,
Dude, and like auto work is so expensive.
especially now.
You
Parts
know.
are so fucking expensive.
You know, so like building an outdoor living space for people, like you're building this outdoor living space so that they can be happy. Right? Like Tucker,
where people belong.
you know what I
outside,
mean?
yeah.
Like Tucker is onto something, dude, when he talks about the architecture in this country compared to the architecture in Russia. Like what are we building? Like what did we lose? The art and architecture.
in
Like
this glass box, yeah.
you know, but this is beautiful. This contemporary design is really neat, you know, but like you are building an outdoor living space tending to the garden in order for people to achieve some type of dopaminergic release to feel happiness with their family. And like taking my labor and being able to take my sweat equity and my life's integrity and my labor in order to enrich somebody else's life for a gain, right? So like money is fiat, like it's not real, but it's the currency that we have in order to enrich our lives. So there has to be that exchange. For now that happens. So like being able to do that for people was the one thing, like on top of all the other stuff that I talked about, that like saved my life transitioning from the Marine Corps. And beans, bullets, bandages. So I get my guys, I get my gear. We got our trucks, we got our equipment, we got our mission set, we've got our map overlay. Let's go. And we tear up their whole entire property. And like the end of the day, one of the customers come out and they're like, how quickly is it going to not look like this? You know? And then like typical job takes a week. At like end of day 5, like they come out and they're weeping. They're like, I had no idea that this could be this pretty. Like, thank you guys so much. And like the music that you're listening to, bless you, the music that you're listening to, the way that you're carrying yourself on their property, the way that you're disposing of your trash, and like the care that you're taking of like tending to that person's their sanctuary. You know, it's a huge honor to be able to do that, you know? And like I was doing this 5,000 square foot patio in Rochester Hills in November, and it's snowing, and it's landscape industry in Michigan, and I'm like, bro, I cannot get laid off this year. Like I cannot deal with Michigan Works and like going through unemployment. Like I don't have the mental capacity to deal with that hot garbage, and I don't have the mental capacity to go to school. So I have to figure something out, you know? And I remembered, life is so deep, dude. I had this friend from high school. He was an underclassman, and we weren't super duper close, but he was always like a really chill guy. He's like a beautiful being, man, like really beautiful person. And like, you never know how much you inspire other people. Like, I don't think any of us, like each of us individually, like we don't know how much we inspire other people. Like, I think I hope when we get like to heaven, we get to review that. And like God reveals like, dude, you saved this person's life this day by smiling at him. You know, and like, I guess this kid like really looked up to me, and he like knew that I went in the Marine Corps, and he like really respected the fact that I went in the Marine Corps, and he went in after I did. And, he got out after his 4 years, you know, and I did my 8, and I had to get out, and he did like Intel or something like that. And, like my buddy, that I met when I was doing CNC machining, and I was taking this class at Macomb for design, CAD design. And I met this kid in the class, and we ended up being pretty good friends, you know. And he like sent me a message one day. He's like, hey, did you know that, we'll call him Adam. All right. Did you know that Adam was working at Close Quarters Tactical? And I was like, what's Close Quarters Tactical? And he's like, dude, you don't know what Close Quarters Tactical is? I'm like, no. What's Close Quarters Tactical? He's like, bro, how do you not know? I'm like, what is Close Quarters Tactical?
You're saying the same
you know
thing.
what I mean? And he's like, dude, you got to hit up Adam. Like, if you haven't talked to him in a long time, like hit up Adam and ask him what this place is. So I hit up Adam, and he's like, yeah, dude, we actually, you know, we have this range, and we have this XYZ type scenario that's going on. And, you know, because you're a certified marksmanship coach, like they would definitely hire you as a range officer. Like for sure. I know the owner would, like, there's no question. So I went up and I met with him, And I took a tour of the facility, and they like really, really liked me. I got along with everybody really, really well. And they gave me a job offer as a range officer, and the amount of money that they had offered me because of the distance. It would take me an hour and 15 minutes to get there every day. Right. So like the distance that I would have had to travel to get there, and the amount of money that they were able to, and it wasn't unreasonable, man. Like they didn't like lowball me. Like it was for being a range officer. Like it was, you know, what you're supposed to get as a range officer, you know. I was like, respectfully, I'm sorry, I have to decline. Like I would love to, man. Like I really like this would be a really cool job, but I can't afford to work here. So I went back to landscape, and I can't remember what I did that season. No, okay, that's fast forward. So that season of my life, I can't remember what I was doing. I think I was going to school at that time when I wanted to get that job as a range officer. So I get a message from that same kid that told me Adam was a range officer there. He's like, dude, did you hear about Adam? I'm like, no, what, dude? He's like, bro, you didn't hear about Adam? I'm like, why do you always do this? Just tell me what it, you know. Like, you know, he's one of the 22. You know, and I was like, bro, no way. You like, whoa, man. And it hit me really hard. Like this is such a beautiful, radiant being, man. Like such a beautiful soul. So, you know, a couple of years later, you know, 2019, November, and I'm working this patio, and it was snowing in November. Go blue, right? And I was like, I got to do something, man. So, like, God was like, call Close Quarters Tactical. They do training there. You're a CMC. They'd be honored to have you. So I called, and there's an angel that works there. And she answered the phone. And I'm like, ma'am, this is me. This is my story. This is my song. Right? So like I gave her my little synopsis, and she's like, let me connect you to the director of training. And he got on the phone, and this guy's not there anymore either. So like, again, eclipse, 7 billion, dude. Whoa. So I'm like, hey, dude, like, this is my story. If you wouldn't mind, like, just like, let me talk for 5 minutes. And if you want to hang up on me while I'm talking, go ahead. But just like, if I can just spit this to you real quick, and like, after I'm done, like, you know, let me know what you think. So I was like, this is who I am. This is what I've done. This is how I think I could help you. Would you guys be interested in having somebody like me on board? And he's like, yeah, we're looking for an instructor right now, actually. So I went in for my first interview, and guys, I had never, so like, I've been doing landscape since I got out of the Marine Corps. So like, you don't have to do like a resume to do that kind of manual labor, you know? And I definitely, you know, going back to that like whole like compassionate living, veganism life that I was living, like I definitely put all of my Marine Corps stuff that I did and accomplishments like in a box that I don't even know where it is, you know, like so much of that stuff is lost because I like cast it out of my life. And I had to write this resume, and I had to call my unit. I had to call Marines that I served with. I had to call my unit on Paris Island to get like my statistics of like people that I trained in numbers that like, I was never about that. Going back, like I wish I would have kept a log of everything. Like even at close quarters, like I don't know any of the numbers of people that I've trained. I don't know how many hours I've taught, like at all. And I'm sure that it's staggering, dude. Like when I look at it, I'm sure it's like, whoa, you know, Keanu Reeves, like, whoa, you know, and I had to type this resume, you know, and I'm typing this resume as like, and like, as I'm calling these people and I'm like typing this up, like I'm sitting up straighter and like my shoulders are like rolling back. And I'm like, bro, you're freaking cool, dude. Like seriously. Cause I try to eliminate ego. Like I hope that you guys see that in me, man. Like I try to have humility in my life. Like I can't stand that prideful person. to each their own, you know. And like I typed this resume and it was like 2 pages, single spaced, and like all this stuff that I'd done, and I'm like this, like, you know, and like at the end, you know, in a resume you got to put like the other stuff that you've done.
Yep.
So I was like 2 years of auto body collision repair and like 5 years of CNC machining, and like you guys know the story when the disciples were in the boat and they're in that storm and like they thought that they were gonna die, and like Jesus was sleeping on a cushion, and like I love this story. I love reading that story because I pictured Jesus like on this like big like cushion, he's like sprawled out, like super exhausted. It's like dude, I'm trying to sleep, bro, because like I can sleep through anything. If certain things I hear, just like my dog when he wakes up, like certain things I hear, I'm up immediately, but I can sleep through anything if I have to, you know. I pictured Jesus like sleeping in the storm, like totally chill, exhausted, and his guys like wake him up, and he's like, dude, what are you waking me up for, bro? Like, you don't, like, we've been through all this and you still don't have any faith? And he like drags his feet like up the stairs, and he just like goes out of the boat, and like I don't think it was like peace, be still. I think he was like, bro, peace, be still, bro. Like, peace, be still, bro. You know, like all the waves stopped and it was just chill. And at this moment in my life, like I had just been taught, like I was in that storm, man. And I was just like, what am I going to do? Where's my life? How am I going to survive? Am I ever going to find a place again? And I had my first interview. I sat down with that angel that works there that answered the phone. And I met with her. And
Hold that, let this thing pass.
Yeah. And again, like where would we be without trains?
Yeah.
You know, dogs, horses, concrete, trains. You know,
Planes,
like
trains, automobiles.
trains are crazy, man. Like that's one of the things that we forget about with infrastructure. Like that again, like misplaced priorities in our country.
Yeah.
Like why don't we focus on our railway more?
We were just talking about that before you got here.
Railways fucking going, like, how many trains derailed last year?
Because it's been privatized.
It was
It's
a
been
fairly
privatized.
normal number, actually. I heard
It was what?
it's a fairly normal number of derailments. Actually,
Yeah, normal
that
number
we've
of
seen.
derailments is kind of fucked. It's like
Yeah.
the
I
minimum
know.
amount of lead allowed in your
It was just
food.
advertised, though. It was because the Palestine thing was such a huge, like, headline-grabbing thing that the more that they happened, they got brought to the forefront more. But when you like analyze the statistics from years prior, it was basically the same.
when they release toxic gases into
Yeah, that
into a
obviously is the bad
populated
one.
area, you know.
Yeah.
But I mean, we live very close to each other, literally probably across the train tracks.
Yeah.
Technically,
If you guys haven't done that ruck yet, you're wrong.
which rock?
You should do that ruck. See like where you're at.
Oh yeah.
Close it,
I mean,
close
I mean, if it wasn't raining, I would have rode my bike over here.
Oh, I can- you
we're
can
pretty
walk,
close.
You can walk on
Yeah.
those tracks, down those tracks too. There's like deer skulls and skeletons all up and down it and stuff. It's pretty crazy.
That's right.
But they're long. I mean, I think the wife got stuck the other day, and she calculated it out that it was 2 point some odd miles
Yeah.
worth of train that went past.
Well, and you think about the weight of material being moved, especially here in like a steel state, like a train like that. Not really around here, but like you get out towards like where I'm at, a train hauling like steel on steel on steel on steel,
Unbelievable.
millions of pounds on one train in one state in this sprawling expanse of the North America.
Where I do some camping up near Baldwin on the Pierre Marquette, there's a train line or rail line tracks that go through, and you are a couple miles, maybe 3, 4, 5 miles away from the tracks, and you will feel it in the ground when a train comes by.
My apartment will start shaking when that thing's still miles away. Yeah.
I mean, it shakes the house, and you hear the glasses and the plates rattling. You're like, oh, that's a heavy one. That's a heavy one today.
You were the story of Jesus in
say
the boat in your
ADHD.
resume, though. I didn't want to. Forget,
Yeah, no,
don't wanna lose that.
I'm locked onto it. Are we good to push on?
Yeah,
that?
that's
Yep,
good. Now.
Yep. So I had that initial interview with her, and like she's just she's a very powerful person in the company, but she doesn't really have any like.
She doesn't flex it.
No, she doesn't like she handles the company, but she doesn't make like those kind of decisions. So she was just kind of vetting me for the owner. So like for her, like reading those numbers and stuff was impressive to her, and she's like, we talked about my career and stuff, and then I had another interview. I had to come back for a second interview with the owner, and which I thought was kind of odd, cool but odd. And I sat down with him, And real quick, brief introduction. Hey, I'm you, you or me, whatever, you know. And he opens up the folder, like a nice folder that I brought with my resume in it and stuff. And like I said, it was 2 pages, my Marine Corps stuff, single spaced. And then the last page was just like my random odds and ends stuff. And I'm interviewing for an instructor position to teach. And he sits down and he opens a folder and he flips past the 2. He goes, so I see you were in the Marine Corps, and flips past both the pages, like doesn't talk about any of the numbers that I'd worked so hard and like rolled my shoulders back, like so proud of. And he goes, tell me a little bit about the CNC machining. And dude, I hope like we can watch film of our life, like drone footage or like astral footage of like, we can all sit in
bird's
like,
eye view.
yeah, you know what I mean? And see like my face when he said that. Cause like I want to know what my face looked like. Like I was like, where's Ashton? Am I unpunked? Like, why are you asking me about CNC machining? Like I'm here to interview to be an instructor. And I have a fair amount of background in CNC. So I was like, well, he's like, I worked on mills and lathes and grinders, and I was in inspection, and I worked on this and that. And I'm speaking with knowledge and intelligently communicate. Well, I ate my crayons, so semi-intelligently communicating about the CNC operations. And he has like this look on his face, like he's mad at me. He's like looking at me, and he's like, and I'm like, what? In my mind, I'm like, what is actually happening right now? What, yeah, like, dude, like, you know, and he's like, huh, very interesting. Now tell me a little bit about this auto body collision repair. And then I'm like, oh, okay. Dude, in my head, I'm like, okay,
You
what?
gotta be fucking kidding me.
Yeah, I'm like, dude, like, what is like, right? And then again, I ate my crayons, so I semi-intelligently communicated about auto body collision repair. And he had this look, like the look kept getting like more like twisted in his face. And he's like, this is really, really interesting. And I'm like, sir, what is going on? Like, I was like, what is going on? Like, you got to tell me, like, what is this? And he goes, well, it just so happens right now that we are starting CQT weapon systems, and we are a full CNC manufacturer of firearms. And I just bought whatever thousands of dollars of Cerakoting equipment, and we have a Cerakote booth, but we don't have a Cerakoter. Do you know what Cerakote is? And like, I probably went white, right? Well, whiter than I am, right? more Russian than I already am. I probably went more Russian than I am right now, not Ostrovia, right? And I was like, yeah, I know what Cerakote is. I don't know how to do it, but I know what it is. And he goes, well, if you consider the fact that I know that you don't know how to do it, and you know that I know that you don't know how to do it, would you like to try? And I'm like, yeah, do I still get to teach? He's like, sure, you can do both. And then he's like, how about we pay you BUP? And I was like, oh, at that moment in time, like I was working landscape, like working, bro, like had to drive to the jobs, like destroying my vehicles, getting my vehicles filthy, and never made anywhere near close to the amount that he, told me that he was going to pay me. And I was like, I'll just stay here. I won't leave, and I'll just stay here, and that's, yeah. And that's like,
Where do I clock in?
Bro, that's like pretty much what happened. Like I used to stay there, like, cause I didn't have a home at the time, so like I would go to parking lots and like props to Planet Fitness, man. Like I understand I'm signing up for a membership at Planet Fitness. I'm signing a contract that I will abide by your culture. I need to not grunt and throw weight sometimes. Like I need to think about my movement. I need to not lift over 60-pound dumbbells sometimes. Like I appreciate it. Right. And like Planet, like I wish I would have bought stock in Tropical Smoothie and Planet Fitness when they first started, because there was like one, and now there's like, they're everywhere, and they're killing it, but like Planet, like I used to sleep in the parking lot of Planet with my dog in the back of my 97X, and get up and shower in Planet, and then go to work. And I would just work all day. Like all day. I would Cerakote all day, and I would teach all day. And it saved my life, man.
God damn. Yeah. I don't want to hear shit about your morning routine.
It was a lot easier when I just had to crawl out of the back of my Saab.
Holy shit.
Thank God you're not driving a Saab anymore. Can't even get parked.
Hey, Saabs are sweet.
I still got my Aero.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, man.
Hell yeah.
6-liter, baby.
Yeah. But yeah, getting parts for, because we have a couple customers that have Saabs. One guy, he blew his engine up.
Good luck.
Cannot get one. Can't. GM doesn't make them anymore. You can't get them aftermarket.
I just got mine rebuilt, full rebuild.
Good for you.
Yep.
Where at?
I don't want to talk about it. Yeah, we don't even need to get into that story.
All right, sounds
Fair
good.
enough. Fair enough.
But
Fuck, man.
because we were trying to find parts and just could not.
Fair.
We can talk about it offline.
All right.
We do that. We openly shit on one gun range around here, and that's really about it. It's the one closest right on Woodward. We don't like that place.
Right.
That place hasn't been good for fucking at least a decade.
And that's one of the things that's important to talk about, man. As positive proponents of the Second Amendment, like we have a duty to not be jerks.
Yeah.
In my opinion, man, like we have a duty to not be jerks. There's so many gun jerks, dude. They're just
you have
jerks,
a duty
dude.
to not be a jerk, and you have a duty to provide a safe environment for learning and getting people exposed to it, and you get all of the bad of that there.
It's
from my
difficult for me,
experience.
man. You know what I mean? Like I like going back to those numbers that I wrote. Like I trained over 450,000 people while I was in the Marine Corps. Like I look back and I was like, I wrote the number. I like did all the backtracking and stuff from my unit on Parris Island and like all my time with my unit in the Marine Corps and being a certified marksmanship coach and like doing all that stuff. And like I reviewed it and like read the number and read the number and read the number. And I'm like, this isn't real. And it was real, you know? And, you know, I was embedded with the Iraqis. I was embedded with the Iraqi police and Iraqi army. Like I lived with them in a tiny little patrol base, right? I wasn't on a fob. We did like 2-week rotations at our command outpost to do laundry and stuff. And then we would go right back. Right. And then same thing in Afghanistan, but we didn't do those rotations. Like we were in a tiny little patrol base surrounded by Al-Qaeda in Iraq, in a tiny little patrol base surrounded by the Taliban in Afghanistan. You know, and I was embedded with the Afghan police and embedded with the Afghan army. Like I went on combined arms exercise patrols with them every day. Right. And it was like epic. These guys were epic, man. We had this RPG gunner and like that's like your job. Like you carry the RPG and that's it. Like you're that dude in the squad that like that's all you have is an RPG.
Dream job.
You know, like this guy's got a Dishka, this guy's got an AK. This guy's got a 203. This guy's got just an RPG.
It's just a launcher.
Right? So he would have a large Alice pack.
Good call, maybe. Put the airsoft guns away.
Man, dude, we need the camera because that would have been epic.
So we cleared them out in the bathroom so you couldn't see live rounds. That way I could make the argument that they are just airsoft guns, but
I mean,
Audience, they are airsoft guns.
so like, and this guy was a airsoft RPG gunner. So he in Afghanistan, right? So he had like a large Alice pack with RPG heads, like sticks, just like sticking out of it, bro.
it's like Legolas with the fucking
Dude, that's I'm not kidding. I'm not kidding. That's what when we got into engagements, that's what he was like. He was like
ripping them out.
I want to say that there's an Instagram video out there of just some badass like that.
He just walks out there. He's just carrying the RPG, walks out in the open.
It
walks back.
wasn't unique to my squad, guys. Like in the Afghan army, you are an RPG gunner. So there's like stories of these guys, like some not like so he was like the DJ Shipley of the Afghan RPG gunners, dude. Like I remember we were pinned down behind this berm, right? We were taking accurate heavy machine gun fire, right? And he would lay down behind the berm. He'd lay down behind the berm, grab one out of his backpack, laying down, load it on his chest, like do an ab crunch, sit up, fire, lay back down, take one out of his pack, load it on his chest, sit up, fire, lay back. And it was so crazy, bro. This one time, dude, I'm like so like I didn't get to see like crazy like I don't know. It's all perspective, dude. Like I got to see some. I wasn't in firefights every day, and I wasn't in Fallujah, and like, thank God I never had to like put my hand down on my buddy's face or anything like that. That used to be a face, and now it's like, dude, I feel so bad for guys that have been through that kind of stuff. I never got blown up. Never had like my whole entire patrol walked over an IED, and it didn't go off. Share that story maybe. But like the engagements that I got in, the ones that I got in were so cool, man. And like this dude, he's like, we're taking accurate machine gun fire from inside this compound, and like we had taken cover inside of like behind this wall, and he takes his RPG and he like is putting it down on the ground at like a 45-degree angle, and you can see him like it's like down on his side, and he's kind of like, now that I know what he was doing, he was like aiming it like a mortar tube. As an so an RPG is a direct fire weapon.
Legendary.
Like you aim at direct fire, and he's aiming it like a mortar, an indirect fire weapon, and he launches it up into the air. Like we couldn't with bullets, we couldn't take out.
Yeah.
Because of the penetration of the compound that we were getting shot from, we couldn't. But like all the compounds are open on the inside, and he lobbed this thing. Boom! It goes off inside the compound. Machine gun fire stops. And like, dude, when stuff like that happens in
gotta
combat,
just yell. You
dude,
gotta be so fired up.
all of us were just like, "Oh my god, that was the coolest freaking
like
thing
a
I've
Call
ever
of
seen in
Duty
my life."
trick shot.
And like, we got to remember, dude, like these guys fought the Russians and won.
Yeah.
Even Genghis Khan could not conquer these people, and we thought that we were gonna go there and win without scorched earth.
Yeah.
Like
We did send the CIA in to train them too.
you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like
They know how to fight dirty.
Yeah. They buried Bin Laden's body at sea. Yeah. I like that story. Let's just roll with that, right?
Yeah.
They actually got Saddam. Yeah. How many body doubles did he have?
Yeah.
Probably not as many as Biden, but that's another story.
We're on number
topic.
4, right?
You know, dude.
I think a new one just dropped.
You know,
His earlobes keep changing.
Yeah.
man, oh man, dude.
The
Like,
chin keeps changing too.
Yeah.
unbelievable. And like these are facts though, dude. Like none of us are making this up. These are well-known facts that you have to do this to preserve the actual whoever he is. Right?
Whatever drug, man. That Lazarus drug is wild.
Dude. Adrenochrome, like like whatever, dude, you know.
You can buy adrenochrome on the internet, and it's not a drug that you want to do.
You know,
it
I
just
don't-
makes you feel like shit.
I don't-
It
drug.
really. No, I mean it's adrenochrome was first mentioned in Fear and Loathing as a drug to be done because
This is bat country.
because it seemed like this fucking amazing thing to do. It's fucking dog shit. It's not a recreational drug worth ingesting.
Noted.
So I don't think they're out here, torturing children to the highest level of terror possible. So they produce the sweetest adrenochrome.
Whose side are you on, Scoundrel?
I think
Humanity
he's speaking some logic.
as a
He's speaking some logic.
species, humanities. I would like to see us evolve into, the final form that we possibly can.
Just because you say with all due respect doesn't mean you can say whatever you want.
I don't know if I've ever said. I don't know if that all due respect has ever come out of my mouth.
Respectfully, Legolas RPG.
He's like, it sure as hell does. Just because you're that handsome doesn't mean you can do whatever you want. Scoundrel.
Hey man, if you're certain level of attractiveness, you can say and do whatever you want.
That's
with
big facts.
impunity.
Especially if you have labia.
Yeah, but I mean, if you look like this, man, perfect red beard,
Stop buttering me up so fucking
perfect
much.
red beard. I mean, have you seen his legs, man?
He is a lobster. He is a lobster.
But
My biggest mentor in life right now, man. He's the founder. Like, I'm not even kidding. It's difficult for me to say this. He's like one of the inceptional founders of MARSOC. He's Force Recon. He was a drill instructor on Paris Island the year of my birth. And he got out of the military, I guess. I think when you're in what he was, you don't ever get out of the military or whatever. But so, and like what we do together now and like who he is. But I digress. He was talking about this story when he was in dive school and they were doing this like really, really complicated. So he's like a master diver. And he was telling me the story of when he was going through this class and they had to stay underwater. Like there was this like certain event that they had to do and they were in open water. Like they're in this certain area. I don't want to talk too much about it, but this guy that his swim buddy wanted to surface. He was freaking out. He was panicking. He kept getting water in his mask. And one of the criteria for drop is if you surfaced, you were done. Mm-hmm. So the guy was freaking out, and my mentor was pulling the guy back. He was trying to surface, and my mentor was pulling him down. Right? So he was drowning him, but my mentor knew that the guy wasn't drowning, but the guy thought that he was like, water, dude.
Yeah, I was about to say, dive school.
Right,
Fuck that.
right. I don't know if you guys ever heard the story of Cowboy Cerrone when he was on Joe Rogan talking about when he was doing that cave diving and he almost died.
Yes.
Yep.
Bro, that man's ability to tell a story, right? But like diving and like, if you mess up, you're dead, dude. And like, I think drowning would be one of those. Like, I've almost drowned. I've almost drowned a couple times, and like the panic that you feel and like that water in your lungs, it's miserable, man. So like he kept pulling the guy back down and pulling the guy back down, and like they had to stop for a second, and like they settled down on this like seaweed bed. And he's talking about like all the others, like this nurse shark comes and like bumps him in his mask and like knocks his mask off, and he has to like clear his mask. And he looks down and there's this lobster crawling. So he grabs this lobster and puts it in his wetsuit, and like puts the lobster in his wetsuit, dude. It's like so like as this guy's like dying and panicking, my mentor is just like totally like flow state Zen master, like that's cool. I'll save that for later. And like they finish the event, and they get in the boat, and like the guy's like, yeah, I got it. Like, and like my mentor at the time was a lower rank, and the guy that he was pulling back down was like a super high rank, and he had to pass his school. He's like, I don't want this motherfucker, like tossing him up and down like this. He's out there messing around, and my mentor was like standing at the position of attention, and like the guy's like screaming. They're like, "Is this true? Were you doing this? Were you?" And he's like, I don't know what he's talking about. I was just like doing the event the way that it's supposed to. And at the time, like the lobster goes like flaps in his wetsuit, and they're like, "What the hell is that?" And he pulls out, so like he's like trying to profess that he was being serious and like totally locked into the event, and he pulls this freaking lobster out of his wetsuit, bro. I'm just like, who are you even, man? Like, who are you even? You know. So he's like ITAX. You know, like so he developed the very first system. Like he developed it, the self-healing grid and everything, like before it was even anything.
So he's the one that I have to have a gripe with, but how clunky that system is.
Well, he is the founder and then passed it all off.
I'm
you know what I mean? But like,
yeah.
I know the guy that founded Close Quarters Tactical, right? Who is, I don't know where I would be without him. Mm-hmm. And B, I know the guy that founded ITAC and MARSOC, and I don't know where I would be without him. So going back to that like monetary gain and like all these things in life that, you know, I judge myself on of not having, but like, dude, look at how rich I am in other ways, you know, and I wish that other people could just find that, man. You know, I pray and I hope that other people can find that you guys, you know, have that in your lives, because you're all part of it too, man. You know, I know you and I were talking about some stuff that you were dealing with, you know, and like we try so hard to do the right thing, and it seems like the more we try to do the right thing, the more our lives get kerfuffled, and we feel like, well, why did I even do all this stuff for these guys if they're just going to turn around and stab me in the back? Mm-hmm. That's the enemy. He wants you to feel like that because you're a threat to his agenda. So he's going to use those events in your life to try to jade you and turn you to the dark side, but we're not going to let it happen.
Most of the time, a lot of the things that are best for you and what are objectively right aren't compatible with the way society operates today. Like, as a human, you're meant to be outside. You're meant to be getting sunlight in your eyes and on your skin. That's how you stay healthy. But with jobs and technology and everything wants to keep you in society, wants to keep you inside. Eating healthy. You know it's best to eat clean, healthy foods. But again, with your job, technology and stuff, it's hard to grow. It's hard to, you know, raise your own chickens. It's hard to raise your own cows and everything to eat them. I'm not saying it's impossible, but the way society has sort of optimized, quotes, life and has tried and pushes how you're supposed to live life for the everyday human being, that's hard to do. It's difficult to do. Again, it's not impossible to do. You should absolutely strive to do it, But the convenience, the comfort aspect that's sort of been developed and has only grown and pushed on people more makes that very difficult and almost out of reach for a lot of people. And so getting back to, finding appreciation, in life and the blessings and whatnot, going to the trainings, going to your classes, getting humbled, doing the hard stuff, learning that, we really know fuck all.
Yeah.
And how screwed we would really be in any of the scenarios that we run through. That's humbling, and that makes at least me, and I won't speak for you guys, extremely grateful for what I do have. And so again, embracing the suck, doing what's right for you, and as a human being and what's objectively right, I think that just naturally will help you become a more thankful and gracious sort of being.
The Industrial Revolution has consequences.
Yeah.
And thinking back to World War II and really doing deep dives into the Nazi Party, man, and Hitler and what he was really after. Even in Iraq and Afghanistan, dude, I have a different perspective. We're there to defeat terrorism and to
Spread democracy.
Bro, so if you what's that?
Super Earth, managed democracy.
Bro, if you look at all of the great civilizations, so there's an ebb and flow, right? Civilizations come, and civilizations come, and civilizations go. Civilizations come, civilizations go. And in all great cultures in history, sacrifice is such a big part of it, right? And in my own life, sacrifice always leads to growth, exponential growth, right? So fasting and prayer. So I want to eat and I want to eat good food, but I more than I want to eat and I want to eat good food, I want resolution about this facet of my life. So I'm going to abstain from that. And I want to do XYZ activity instead of pray, but I'm going to realize the importance of what I'm doing. And then when I come out of that state of fasting and prayer, it's rocket ship enlightenment and clarity as to what I was praying about, but thinking that we were over there for oil or for
Opium.
the fact that people, the opium wars are crazy. And when you think about China, and that's been something that's been really a big topic on my heart lately, is the opium wars and how we got this relationship with China that we're going through right now, and the residual effects of why China feels the way that they feel about us. I'm ignorant about a lot of that kind of stuff because they don't talk about it. We don't talk about the negative aspects of what America has done.
We do.
I was about to say,
you know what I'm saying? Dude, one of the big things that we got to remember, in my opinion, and hone in and keep in the forefront of our mind is we are the Native Americans. They will do exactly to us what they did to the Native Americans in a heartbeat, without flinching.
And history's only written by the winners. If you remember learning about that in school, it was a quick chapter about Christopher Columbus and founding of America, and then the Native Americans died from disease, and that was it.
Dude,
they were
the winners write
slaughtered in
history.
droves to make room for. Yeah.
So one of the reasons why I'm fascinated in mythology, especially Japanese, Shinto, Buddhist, and Hindu, their deities and everything, is when you look at them, they're so fantastical.
Yeah.
Disney movie. I'm sorry, I can't believe I let that word come out of my mouth. But Monsters Inc.
Yeah.
Pixar animations, and we were so stimulated by kung fu movies and wushu history and dragons and tigers and oni and demons, and we look at Dante's Inferno and all these different depictions of evil and of demons and stuff, and I look back to you guys were talking about Pangea. Pangea is a real thing, dude.
Oh yeah.
It's a real thing, and
None of us here are flat earthers, for the record.
but you were talking about and discussing, it was kind of a cool rabbit hole that you guys are going down.
Yeah.
Even if the Earth, let's just say it is, right? It's not. Let's just say it is. What was Pangea like during that time?
Yeah.
But regardless, flat, round, whatever, it was one continent. That's really deep.
Mm-hmm.
That's really deep to think about. And what was that like? And that means there was a lot of ocean, dude. and tides and like they say that it never used to rain. It would just be like a mist. And then the meteor came and broke the firmament. And there was like this cushion layer of water underneath the Earth's crust. And when that meteor broke the firmament, it shot all that water up out into the atmosphere. And then since then it's been raining, right? So and then the rainbow, right? The chakras, red, orange, yellow, green, blue, purple, indigo, all that different type of stuff. And like, I firmly believe in my heart of hearts, whether I'm right, wrong, or indifferent, that there is magic. There are wizards, there are witches, there are like all of the things that we can comprehend or fathom or think about. I believe we're very, very real and very alive. I believe like you can shoot electricity out of your fingers. You can like cast spells on people. Like things can get putrid. Like you can degrade, like all that. And I think that like, so demons can learn and grow as well. Angels can learn and grow as well. Everything evolves. Everything is constantly changing, So I think that they've figured out a way to where, in Monsters Inc., there are these like big, scary, they can change into their scare form, right? But like when they're not in their scare form, they're like really kind of cute and cuddly, So I feel like the demons have figured out that like, when they were like these big, like scary looking things that like people would stay away, like we got to stay away from that. We got to stay away from that. But they're like, well, if I can just put a skin suit on and Gavin Newsom myself, then like everybody will like me. Look how handsome I am. Look how great my smile is. And I firmly believe that those people are still perpetrating the same metaphysical manifestations of that evil and that power and control over us. We just can't see it like that. They figured out like, dude, why we can trick them a lot worse by not looking as scary and making it seem like it's something that they need.
Like if we're gonna, reference religious texts here, Satan, the devil, the deceiver. It's not going to be this overt red horns, big fire thing.
So dumb.
It's going to appear to you in an appealing way, in a way that speaks to you on an emotional level that it's going to try to identify with you, and it's going to try to twist your understanding and sort of perception of reality in the world.
And I think it's really deep, like as old as the Bible is, right? And there's other really important religious texts other than the Bible. Just that part of it, like the ignorance in that, like is staggering.
And God came to Muhammad and said, "I am the one true God."
Dude, it's so staggering, right?
This time it's for real.
Teach their own, right? But like. That we could get to the point to where like this is this, and I know that this is this, and I am going to kill you if you think anything different, right? And like with the Bible, right? It's a very holy book, right? And it's very ancient, and the translations and the way that words were spoken and letters were spelled, right? They call him the Prince of the Power of the Air. And if you look at what's happening right now with the satellite structure and Starlink and 4G, 5G beyond, and like even right now, like our voices are reverberating into the microphone and being digitally recorded onto this device, like he is the Prince of the Power of the Air. And he rules sovereign supreme. Like that's all this thing is control. That's all our mobile devices are control. Like we are 100% slaves to our mobile devices. Whether you want to believe it or not, whether your intention is to use it for good or not, we are slaves to these things, dude. And we are all guilty of it. Each and every one of us at this table knows that we're being surveilled and watched, and every single thing is being cataloged, recorded, and put into one of Jeff Bezos's iCloud servers so that the CIA can access it, But like we're willing participants. We should all get sledgehammers and smash them, but we're not going to. Like he's got us, dude, and we know it, and we're just going to keep participating. It's such a mind game to try to like. I understand that I know that I'm doing this, and I'm not going to stop. It's like being a heroin addict.
Yeah.
And like I'm not going to stop because I guess like for me and my philosophy, like I believe that like I believe in the winning team, and like it's all going to work out for the better, So why take myself out of the fight if one person listens to this podcast and it changes their life.
That was sort of my thing too. My thing was like, I'm not on here to like really try to change anyone's mind. It's to have people on and to talk about things that just people want to hear. This is like a place. This is talk and whatever it is for our people. And if they can find it, they can do whatever. And if one person likes it, and one person can sort of find it in the field of already like suppressed content
For sure.
out there for this, and it can help support, you know, a healthy, like strong lifestyle, then mission accomplished. And
100%.
This is nowhere near cash flow positive. It's not going to be cash flow positive probably forever, but that's not the point really. So
No, it's like Scoundrel said, man. With this technology, everybody can find somewhere where they belong. So if it gives somebody a place where they belong, do right on.
yeah.
Whether that's a positive or a negative,
100%.
I mean, that's what it's giving us, that opportunity and that option of having, that and technology, everything's two sides of a coin,
Everything.
right?
Right, it's not black or white, it's gray.
Yeah, one man's terrorist is another man's freedom fighter. Technology has been used to create a better society. Technology has also been used to oppress society, and it really is, it's like any other tool, it doesn't have a will or a conscience of its own. It doesn't go left, doesn't go right, doesn't go up, doesn't go down. It's the user of that tool decides what that tool will be used for.
So deep, dude.
And that's sort of one of like the pillars of the show is like I have 4 pillars, one of them being, beware the frailty of man. And that's just, we are human, we're mortals. We're never going to be able to know everything. We're never going to see the full long-term consequences of our actions. And so always keep that in mind when you're seeing something on the news, when you're going through life, when you're thinking and talking about yourself. And part of that is to sort of remember an interesting parable that's used in like the scientific, or maybe it was used. I don't know if it's used so much anymore considering what's happening now in that field, but it's the parable of Chesterton's fence. And the story goes, 2 individuals are walking down a road, and as it's a completely open road, think of like a desert road, Route 66, whatever, open desert road, and as they're walking down the road, a fence is running just perpendicular straight through it, right across the road. Just this fence in the middle of nowhere is blocking the road. And one scientist goes, oh, well, this is in the way, yank it out, clear it out. This serves no purpose, clearly, pull it out. The other scientist goes, perhaps, but we should seek to understand at least one thing about it before we act on the fence. And I use that, and I kind of sort of call to that whenever we make advancements in technology, whenever we start pushing pharmaceutical interventions, we should at least have some understanding of how this is going to play out negatively, because we didn't develop any of this stuff to have a negative outcome, I'd like to believe. But it's going to have a negative outcome. Any sort of action, any sort of ripple that sort of takes place that in our day-to-day lives or things that we interact with will have some sort of consequence down the line, whether it's small, whether it's big. But we should at least keep that in mind a little bit when we're talking about these things, whether it be a drink, whether it be a new food or something. Like really sort of keep that in mind, and how is this going to impact the human race, and not just focus on the positives, because that's great for advertising and really driving a profit and whatnot, but understand, maybe what could potentially be the downside here, and let's at least consider that when making the decision to put a product out and or also purchase it and use it and integrate it into our daily lives.
And that's one of the things that's difficult about the training aspect of it, but it's I've been doing this for a long time, and I can't think of one person, not one person that's come through that wants to take the training for nefarious reasons. People that want to come and train, they have like the best heart. Like, I want to protect, I want to defend. Violent criminals don't take their CPL. They're gonna break the law anyway. Like we put our own lives on the line and our own rights on the line so that we are law-abiding citizens. We put ourselves at a deficit. First, do no harm. Be polite, be professional, but have a plan to kill everyone you meet. And there is certain people, right? So if you are raised up from age 0 to believe a certain way, you have to be a very unique person to break that brainwashing, right? So like one of the difficult things that's happening in Palestine right now is those people, like 50% of the population is under 18, right? So those people have been suffering. That's all they've known is hate and suffering. So how do you expect them to like know anything else? It's not Stockholm syndrome. It's my captives are evil and they're going to always be evil. So I'm not going to let you do that to me anymore. So it's perpetrated. It's propagated. It's systemically created, dude. You know, from age 0. That's just like Jingle Thursdays that I firsthand witnessed in Afghanistan, man. Like they rape these little boys on Thursdays, dude. Like they dress them up like little girls. And they make them serve chai tea to them, and they put makeup on them and little bells, and they make them dance. And it's like the really, really evil part about it, right? The thing that like it's difficult to talk about, but they don't do anything violent to them. It's very like gentle, like, oh, it's very loving. It's disgusting to even say it like that, but it's very like gentle. And they grow up like this is normal, and
You're
this is
conditioned
what,
to it.
and they grow up like that, and then they do it to the next generation. They do it to the next generation. They do it to the next generation. It's like the lowest vibrational frequency, carnal root chakra beings, dude. It's the most demonic, nasty. They like make them feel pretty. They dress them up. They make them feel wanted and important, and that you're serving these men with this power, this chai, and you're helping that. Yeah, it's like it's the most demonic thing that I could possibly fathom and comprehend. But they normalize it.
Yeah.
Well, it's been a culture. It's a cultural thing.
You know what I mean?
The Romans did the same thing. The Romans
The
took.
Romans, the Greeks.
I mean, you know, and that's just a cultural thing that they find acceptable. You know,
And
it goes back to it's you hit the nail on the head when you were talking about Palestine, and that all they've known is hate and despair for their entire life. That's their culture. You know, if what you were grown up in is, you know, hate this person for X, Y, or Z, you know, then it's very hard to get out of that, of whatever it is. If you're raised in a culture where rape is normalized, then rape isn't something that you see as wrong, right? Because that's the culture that you've been raised in. Even if the culture next door to you sees it differently, they may do something in their culture that is taboo to yours.
And that being said too,
Not saying that any of this is right.
No, for sure, man. And that being said too, like this is kind of a thing that like, so studying neurological biology, like that's been like one of my biggest interests in life. So big props to Dr. Andrew Huberman and the Huberman Lad podcast. Like, dude, that guy is doing the Lord's work, right? For sure.
He caught some guff recently.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
Which is bullshit,
Of course they're going to come
Yeah.
after him, you know. But so we'll wait for this thing to clear for a couple of seconds until it kind of levels out.
Should be done blowing the horn. He's clear of the crossing.
Yep.
Yeah, you're fine.
Really cool ambiance, man. It's really beautiful.
Thank you.
But you know, neurological hardwiring as to how our brains develop and make us who we are and how we comprehend and perceive reality. So like a lot of these kids in different countries, I read a study specifically about Russia where these children are abandoned, right? And like, and they skin to skin contact. So like anybody that's listening that has young children, like, and like, cause we were just talking about some pretty nasty parts of human contact and how to handle a child, that mother skin to skin contact when they're breastfeeding and like them. So your heart puts out on average 30 times more electromagnetic frequency than your brain does. So we're processing chemical electro signals inside of our brain, and then it's being transferred into the heart, and the heart is pulsing those waves out, right? That's the frequency that is being felt, and then your heart is also receiving. So as it's pulsing, it's relaxing and like sending and receiving, and we're not even aware of this stuff, right? Dogs, their whiskers, they are still in that veil, right? They still operate on that level. They've brainwashed us out of that. I believe we can get it back, right? But as that mother is holding that baby, right? And that's like one of the reasons why postpartum is so sad, dude. Like when that loving mother that's in a sound mind and loving that baby is holding that baby skin to skin, and that baby is being neurologically hardwired through those electromagnetic frequencies to feel that love and that tender kindness, right? And it's evolving that person neurologically and creating receptor sites inside their brain for the capacity for love and to receive and to give love, right? That's like some people like to cuddle, some don't, right? Some people's dad held them like that. Some people's dad, like my dad used to have his shirt off and cuddle with me when I was a baby on his couch and hold me and fall asleep with me. I'm very grateful for that, dude. Like for that like contact and that tender loving kindness and like wanting to be close to your kid. Like when I'm holding my dog, dude, like my female, she tries to crawl into my skin. She does. Like she will push her face on. I'm like, baby, you can't get any closer to me, honey. Like, but she still is trying to crawl into my skin, you know? So where I'm going with that is like these babies that get abandoned and stuff and get put in these shelters and orphanages, or maybe even grow up even more rough without a shelter or orphanage, like having to survive on the street, the only stimulus that they receive is pain. So from a very early age, as early as they can, they're being provided sustenance as far as nourishment to barely get by with food and water and whatever. But the only other nourishment that they're receiving is violence and aggression and pain and hate. So they're being neurologically hardwired that their dopaminergic release is pain and hate and suffering.
And then that's why a lot of people who are of that, I guess that mindset that develop that way, they fall into addiction because that's an easy dopamine hit to get yourself into, you know, that state where you said, you know, you're not feeling any sort of positive emotion, isn't eliciting that chemical stimulus that you want, and you know, it's a very sad state of being.
And so then they perpetrate these violent acts against other people because they like it makes them feel good. Like they don't process when we see people suffering, right? I don't care what side. When I see what happened on October 7th, I don't care what I really sincerely do care what the backstory is, and people will have justice one day. I feel so bad for those people. I feel so bad for those people, dude. The acts were so evil that got perpetrated, man. And like, I watch the stuff. Mm-hmm. I don't want to watch it, but I have to remember what it exists out there. And same thing with Palestine. What's happening to those people is raw hate and evil. Mm-hmm. The things that those kids are going through, like you're sleeping in your crib or in your bunk bed or whatever with your brother, sister, whatever the case may be, and you go to bed at night and everything's fine, and a missile hits your birthing area and the whole building crumbles and you're waking up in dark, like you are
entombed in concrete.
Yeah, but you completely entombed in concrete, man. And you can't see. It's complete darkness. I don't know if you guys have ever been in like a situation where you're like entombed and you can't get out, and like what that panic feels like, and you can't hear. So it's like being under the water, and you have no idea where your family is.
You can't move.
You can't move. That's all you can do is sit there and cry and hope that somebody comes and rescues you. Mm-hmm. For days and days and days.
And this goes back to perspective, though. And this is I run into this issue a lot because, you know, again, back to the othering of other people and cheering for the team. You're either pro-Israel or you're pro-Palestine, and there's no room for anybody to be like, I hate the whole conflict altogether. No one should be fucking suffering at all.
Innocent shouldn't suffer for the petty squabbles of the powerful.
Exactly. And that's the sad thing, is that because of, you know, the things that we're slaves to, it leaves very little room for that sort of nuance, very little room for that I believe what is objectively the most optimal outcome for everybody. Like, why the fuck is this happening? Why are we funding it? Like, this shouldn't be a thing. But again, this goes back. The conflict over there goes back forever. Back to that conditioning. There's so much generational bloodshed because of how so many people were brought up, that even if everyone's at guns down now, there are too many people on both sides that feel, I'm not saying that they truly are, that feel slighted by the other for it to just stay peaceful, I think, in that area. And unfortunately, I think that's just the harsh reality of that region.
That's the harsh reality of tribalism.
Yeah.
I think is that you can look to your left, and the person next to you looks exactly the same as you, but because their god has red hair, as a ginger,
Yours might, mine doesn't.
Then there you go. Then I look at that person differently
Yeah.
because the thing that they believe in is slightly different than the thing that I believe in.
So, what do you guys think? What are some possible ways that could ever change?
You mean
not
the
that
elimination of discrimination on the basis of differing opinions?
Like why? How do we? Like, I don't want to believe. Like, I believe that Revelation. Like, you guys ever read those Goosebump books when you were a kid,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
it had different endings? Like,
Uh-huh.
depending on what you
Choose your own
wanted to
adventure.
Yeah.
I love
Yeah.
the Choose your own
Yeah.
adventure books.
And I don't know if EverQuest. I don't know. I'm dating myself saying EverQuest,
No,
but like
you got me.
you know,
I know what
different,
it is.
I've ever quested, but
different games to where you can like choose, and it changes the outcome of the whole entire game. Like, I believe that Revelation is an alternate ending. Like, I don't want to believe that it's like this is the only way it ends. You know, I hope and I pray that there's an alternate ending where the world doesn't get destroyed and we don't get burned up and Armageddon doesn't happen. And like, everybody's so fixated that like this is the way that it happens. It's like, did you guys see that movie Violent Night? That Santa Claus.
Yes.
Oh no, I know what it
with
is.
David Harbour.
Oh, you
David
have
Harbour?
to see that movie.
I know
Like,
the John Wick guys made it. Yeah.
made me want to believe in Santa. I'm not kidding. Like,
Dude, John Wick Santa is my Santa.
I was
Yeah.
watching this
no,
movie.
He's not John Wick though. He is almost incompetent, but it is great.
You know, but it was like, it was such a cool movie, and like it like the whole thing was that like people stopped believing in Santa, and he was losing his powers. Like, when you believe in something, and if we go into the actual spiritual realm of reality, and that's what all this is, it's spirit. Like, all this concrete, tangible things don't exist. Spirit is the only thing that's real. And when we intuitively and spiritually invest in things, we're giving power to them, right? So like this little girl like really believed in Santa, and like the more that she believed in him, it was giving him more power. And then through her faith in him, the other people started believing in him too, and he got more and more power and more power. So like, my biggest hope, right? Like, what happened on 9/11 is just like beyond the scope of my ability to comprehend and perceive reality. But it brought people together for a time, for a season.
Mm-hmm.
Man, it brought people together for a season. So aliens, if you're listening to this, like, please hurry up and come here. I really, aliens, if you're out there.
Are you a Watchmen fan?
The movie
movie
series?
Watchmen?
Man,
Yeah.
it's so.
Oh
freaking
well,
cool.
or the comic book would be better if you can track it down to read it.
Yeah.
It's a little better because Alan Moore is an anarchist, but I mean I think that honestly, one thing I've been saying for years is that we need that singular threat to humanity as a species, Earth as a whole. I think that is what it's going to take to finally get us to shake off these, the fact that you believe in God, I don't believe in God, but we're still two human beings who have to coexist on this planet, and we should strive towards, this being a planet for the both of us.
I think our little group chat, even though, and I don't think we need a threat. I hope to God we don't need the huge intergalactic threat. I think if you just go out into the real world and just be with people, you realize, because like our little group chat of 100 or so guys, we're all very different, but like we all hang out, we all go outside, we all get active, and like we all sort of partake in life together. We have way more in common than we do, you know,
Separating us.
Yeah, than we are, you know, disalike, really, I guess. And the more you do that, I think, I sit in the coffee shop down the road here when I edit these every now and then. There's a group of guys, group of old men who get there and talk about everything. They disagree about a lot of the stuff. It's all like the hot button topics, some bullshit, some not. They go back and forth. And, you know, they're all friends at the end of the day. They may not agree on everything. But I've noticed, like, people who have never sat with these guys before now show up at the same time they're there. Like, young girls, young guys, they'll now gather and this table's getting larger and larger, and they'll talk about just stuff going on in the Middle East. They'll talk about stuff going on in politics, in the weather, whatever it is. And they'll go back and forth, and they love just getting together and partaking in that, you know, 2-3 hour, you know, coffee shop trip together. And I think if people, and again, maybe it is going to take a threat for people to put this shit down.
What I think it is it goes back to that echo chamber. It goes back to how easy something is. You know, it's hard to have your beliefs challenged.
Yeah.
Right? And it takes a lot of mental processing. It takes a lot of time away from yourself and your life in order to sit down and say, and have your beliefs challenged and maybe evaluate the challenge and your beliefs and come to some sort of, whether it's a compromise or whether it's a complete dismissal of the challenge or your beliefs. It's hard to do that because we invest a lot of ourselves in our beliefs. And then I think that is a great thing to do, because if you stand for nothing, you'll fall for anything.
Right.
But I think that sometimes we're too rigid in some of our beliefs. And we like to put ourselves into an echo chamber because it's easier for us to all sit around and say, oh yeah, I agree with you 100%. And that leads into it. You know, you're right, and I 100% agree with you. I don't have anything to disagree with you about. And it makes for weaker opinions because you don't have to defend them. Mm-hmm. You don't constantly have to be looking at them and judging them from an outside perspective. And that just makes it easy. And I think that that's something that us as a culture, as a society, should get back towards doing, is if you disagree with somebody, they're not the enemy. Yep. That does not make them the enemy because they hold an opinion that differs from yours. You know, they're just another individual that you've met whose life experiences, whose knowledge has led them to their current state of wisdom, and that's what they're operating on. You know, not all of us have been fortunate enough to go to college, have great careers. You know, not all of us are privileged enough to have been raised by two parents. You know, absolutely. Not all of us are privileged enough to have had a stable shelter over our head in the trying times of our lives, where we are weaker and we may be more open to having negative opinions and viewpoints thrust upon ourselves, or even encourage and actively seeking out, because there is a bit inside of every human being where if I can look down on a person, then I feel like I am better than them, that raises who I am.
You know, white privilege. All that just sounded like white privilege to me. You know what I'm saying? Like, what did seriously, you know?
Yeah, you know, and I try not to bang the hammer of white privilege. You know, there are certain systemic.
Dude, we all struggle, bro. It doesn't matter.
We do all struggle. I think that a lot of us have more safety nets, have more of a support system, and it is fortunate if you are capable of having all of that to help you to be the person that you are. Whereas some of us are less fortunate, and we have to struggle through that. You know, not everybody is not the same.
Well, like I said, man, when we were talking about the guy, you know, dropping his truck off and having the gun on the SIG on the floor, you know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
Those people struggle bad. You know, those people live in their form of ghetto. Like, one of the huge epiphanies that I had in life living in South Carolina on the Georgia line, and being from the Metro Detroit area and being very intimately integrated into the Detroit culture when I was young, and the urban landscape and concrete jungle and the culture of the gangland, and then going to Georgia and South Carolina and like understanding that they have a country ghetto and a country gangland and like a country culture of thuggery. And it was like, this is way scarier than I thought Detroit was, man. Like they got pigs, they got property, they got coveralls, and they're in muck boots, and they will never find you again.
They know
like,
the remote places.
you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like gators, they will throw
they just
you,
feed
you
the
know.
pigs, yeah.
But they were like just as thug and just as hard, if not harder, dude. And like, it was like
It's the same. It
was wild.
It's the
bro.
same
it blew
game.
my mind.
You've just changed the scenery.
Dude, it blew my mind. It was like a huge level up. It was a huge upgrade to be able to go through that and experience that in my life. And like being from this area and experiencing the level of quote unquote racism that I experienced in my life, and then going down south and experiencing the level of racism that I experienced down there, it was like, okay, dude, I get it now. I get it why some people are so affected by this hot garbage. You know, like some people are very, very, very hateful. Like up here, it was like kind of dismissive hate.
Yeah.
Down there, it was like, dude, like
Very overt.
I want to watch your skin be peeled from your body and your whole entire bloodline be eradicated. And I'm like, I don't comprehend that. I don't comprehend that. And I'm just, again, going back to that value of wisdom. Like I'm so blessed that I am not like that, man. Like I might not have all these other things in my life, but I'm so blessed that I don't have that inside of my being, dude. That I have love for people, you know, regardless of what I've been through. Like the Iraqis,
You're all pink on the inside.
bro.
It's-
You know,
I mean, it really is.
A
that's just-
JDAM is going to do the same exact thing to your body as it's going to do to
The
mine.
mist
You
you're
know,
going to turn into is all the same.
You're all
I'm
the
telling
same
you.
color. Yeah,
know.
we're all the same color on the inside.
so dude, some of the Iraqis and some of the Afghans that I got to meet, and just the local populace were like, dude, like how is your soul this radiant? Like how are you this beautiful of a person?
Because it doesn't matter where you come from. There's always going to be good people. There's always going to be bad people.
You know, and the way that the media during 9/11 like propagated that hate for people wearing a hijab, and like the slurs that like were coming out of, you know, that type of thing, especially being in the Metro Detroit area and being in any proximity to Dearborn. You know what I mean? It's like, dude, I hurt so bad for what those people have to go through.
Still.
And like especially I've had quite a few students, especially when everything was happening on October 7th. I was like, dude, if this country starts to generalize those people again just because of how they're dressed, I'm gonna start punching people in the face. Like I'm gonna go out and actively seek out people that are treating people like that. It's like we were talking about with you're talking about like if your coffee's not a certain way, if your eggs are too runny, like how dare you talk to that waitress like that, bro?
Yeah.
Like that's one of the things. Like I don't get involved very often, but when people talk down to people in the food service industry, bro, I'm getting up. Like, dude, you better it's me and you right now. Like you're gonna stop talking to that person right now, or you're going to the hospital and I'm going to jail.
I'm gonna feed you
Like,
your own ear,
I'm
yeah.
telling you, like you're eating everything that's on this table, including the glass, including the forks, the silverware, the hardware.
Person. Like your shit doesn't
And that's
stink.
it's I don't know if it's intentional because it's easy to ram people up like this, but there's a differentiation that needs to happen in all of these conflicts where you don't hate a single person here who wears a hijab. You don't hate a single person in Palestine. You don't hate a single person in Israel. You don't hate a single person in Ukraine or Russia or China. You hate all their governments. You hate all the people pushing the buttons, sending the people over.
Oh,
do you
100%.
know?
It's not the population that's making
but
these choices.
People aren't. It's not getting highlighted, and people are ignoring it, or people aren't seeing it. It's just easy to be like, "Fuck those people" as a whole. But I don't hate a single person in any of those countries. I hate the people leading those countries, making the fucking decisions.
Well, people in power should be denied power.
Yeah,
People who seek power.
people who command that sort of power.
because
seek
they're
that sort
because
of
they're
power
going
should
to
be
use
disregarded.
they're going to use it for personal benefit. I mean,
With this
how many
missile,
people?
the Lockheed Martin stock price goes up how much? Okay.
100%.
Send it.
How many people who actually achieve a position of power do something to benefit the people beneath them? I mean,
Zero.
and step away. And you.
It's
can
not
step away
zero,
from-
like he said. There are some good people, I think, but as a whole, those people are kept way down. You don't hear from them. They're not allowed to do their job and what they're supposed to do because the people who
And
are
because they're
doing
not allowed to do
who are
their
doing
job,
the wrong
it's
thing
zero.
It's
are
a
traded-
0.01.
Yes.
But
Yeah.
but
You know.
and to come, fucking lost that train of thought. Yes, you're zoom out, right? You mentioned to zoom out, and when you zoom out and you look at the president of any country, very rarely does what is beneficial for the people of that country
Or any candidate.
or any candidate. But the more that you zoom in, the closer that you get to local, the more that I think that especially you should be holding that representative because that representative is there to do things that are beneficial to your community because they represent you. And I think it's a lot of, we're now electing people who don't live down the block
Yes.
from me, and, if I can go down the block and be like, Jim, what the fuck are you doing with the town? Why would you let why would you let X company come in and rape the water supply?
Yeah.
Well, because they put money in my pocket.
Yeah.
They took me out on a 2-week vacation.
Okay, Jim, I'm standing on your porch right now. Let's see how long it takes you to reverse that. Yeah.
And it's that it's less accountability for the people in power. They're not held accountable for the things that they do that aren't
In the
signed
best
off on
interest.
in the best interest of.
Well, and now I'm afraid of I'm afraid of opposing that. I'm afraid of if I say that I don't agree with that, like what are the repercussions of my life?
That's the idea.
Well, yeah, that's the idea is to
that's
get
the
you
idea,
get
so
you
that
afraid,
you
so that
don't
you
either
fall in
know
line,
or
and
that you don't want to say anything.
Like
You don't speak out.
we're all sitting here knowing all these things in black and white. We are the gray. But what are we going to do? We are going to do absolutely nothing. I guess this podcast is not absolutely nothing. We're trying to have a discussion and talk about it, and maybe some positive change will happen because it is at the local representative level. Like that's where that tribal culture. That's why that's why the Afghan people are so strong, is because it's that tribal culture. It's all differing belief systems unified around one singular theory, right? And moving forward and compelling, and look at how powerful they've gotten because of it, right? But that unifying factor to organize together in order to make changes happen, because it's like I feel like a lot of people their initial thing is, well, people are going to have to start dying in order for something to change. Well, let's not let it get to that point. Let's try to figure out.
Because if you look at the revolution, if you look at even like slaves, you go back to slavery here. Everything started with, there wasn't podcasts, but there were pamphlets in the town square. People reading this and going, "Oh, this is a
Fucking
thought."
Gutenberg.
People are thinking about this thing, and I'm not the only one who thinks, "Oh, that's kind of messed up." So talking about this stuff and keeping this out in the airways is important for that reason. I'm not trying to spark anything. I just want people to know, like, whatever the status quo isn't great. Like, not everyone thinks that's great and that's how it should be. But like, it all starts with like some sort of shared idea that people can like relate to and be like, "Oh, holy shit, like that's other people think too." Okay, I'm with people. And also I firmly believe the way to go isn't marching right into DC, obviously, as we saw on a certain January day. I don't think that's the right thing to do either. That's exactly what they want. They want you to walk right up to their front doorstep so they can seize all your assets. They can kick down your door. They can arrest you, throw you in prison for whatever, for an insurrection, quote unquote. The best thing that we can do is develop, just like I saw today, it was self-excellence. Basically, make your life as strong, make yourself, your family, those around you as strong and as self-sufficient as possible so you don't have to rely on the government as much as possible. And so that when things do, and if things do, pray to God that they don't get bad enough, you are in a good enough position with your community and the people around you to take care of your own as best as possible, in my belief, because the government's not going to be there to help you. They're not going to be there to save you. That's not their job. And so I'm not going to rely on them. I'm not going to look to rely on them. But I'm also not going to try marching down Main Street with my rifle slung over my chest, whatever, with 100 or so of the guys here, because that's not going to do anything exactly what they want.
100%. So that,
Go ahead.
no, and that's one of the reasons why I've chosen to like have to travel as far as I had to travel to get here today.
Sorry.
No, dude, no, you know what I mean? Because like,
Heard.
no, because like I have this vision, I have this goal of exactly what you're talking about. Like it's not my property.
Yeah.
I want it to be a communal thing. Like I would like to have a punch code on my door to where if you don't have a plot for a garden here, well then here I have plenty of space for you to have your own garden plot. You don't have a place to work on your car, well I have plenty of space for you to come and work on your car.
That's some hippie ass shit, man.
Yeah, man.
We need that though. We need that.
You know, so
That's how communities existed before government. That's how people.
But the thing about that is, man, is that like I get down and out because like especially
You have to be a little close-minded though. You have to make sure the people you're giving that access code and you're using are like-minded to you.
But that's the tough part of it is like I want to attract a mate right now. You know, my peacock feathers, you know, I'm trying to peacock and attract a certain mate, right? And like
Peacock Chief, you gotta let me fly.
you know, so like I'm very I really like the way that it feels inside this room, man. I really like this style, and I feel like if you had like a aggregate of women that could see this room right now and say like, okay, this guy lives in a room like this.
I don't. This is just the lobby clubhouse.
I get it. I get it. But like the aesthetics of this compared to the aesthetics of where I live, it's probably like much greater number of people that would want, like just like the NFL draft thing that we saw going on yesterday.
Yeah, but it's going to attract the people who believe in like horoscopes and shit.
I get it, right? But
It does actually, and it's terrible.
I get it.
Don't
But
believe magnets exist?
I get it, but at the same time, like I just have to continue to endure, and I know these things. I'm speaking it. And I understand that it's real, but like I have a vision, but the vision is very slow.
Sure.
Like because I don't have a dossier of people that shared this vision with me, that agreed to go on this journey with me. So it's like I'm gonna do it. I am gonna launch the ship, and hopefully a fleet arrives behind me.
Hell yeah.
And I just have to continue to endure and do what I'm doing until that moment arrives. But until then, it's very, very lonely, man. My life is very, very lonely. You know, so I'm very grateful for my dogs and my animal. Like I've tried to build this environment in my life to where I am at vacation when I'm at home. Like would it be cool to visit Machu Picchu? Would it be cool to visit Seychelles and like go and visit these places? Like, yeah, it really would. But I would rather take care of my home and my environment, what I have going on, and have people share that. You know, like the Upper Peninsula is as far as I need to go, man. Like the Thumb is as far as I need to go. The West Coast, the Sleeping Bear Dunes, like that's as far as I need to go, man. You know, and learning what I can about my state and where I live and edifying the ground that I hold right now, and not like oh man, well it was so beautiful here. Like, and I have two Malleys, dude. Like there's not anybody that can watch two Malleys. Like you got to be a special person. Like the aggregate of that is very low. So I'm like, I'm self-inducing.
You're anchored.
This constraining environment, right? Intentionally. Like I'm grounding myself here. Like I can't leave. You know, my chickens. I need to find somebody that can help me with my dogs and my chickens. So now I need somebody that knows about Malinois and chickens and my garden. So it's like I can't leave. I can't go anywhere. I like when I get off work, like I can't come and hang out with these guys down here, because if I'm hanging out with these guys down here, then all my stuff is lacking up there. You know, so like that's and as much as I was supposed to teach Carbine 2 today, we didn't have enough people signed up for Carbine 2 in order to teach the class. Like that right there about everything that we were talking about with close quarters tactical, like that hurts my brain. I'm grateful because I wouldn't be here right now hanging out with you guys and having this conversation, which is beautiful and super necessary, right? And now, thankfully, the rain stopped, so I can go home and do some more stuff. I have sticks all over my yard. I can't even cut my back because so many trees fell down during that last winter storm when all the, you know. But it's like, I'm still going to be alone doing it until that fulcrum happens. And then like I've noticed that in life. Like I wish and I dream and I hope and I pray for these events to happen. And it's like I was on this lull of activity and it's like, okay, when is this going to happen? When is it going to happen? And then like the next day you wake up and it's like, oh my God, I don't even have time to breathe because I'm just surrounded by people and I'm surrounded by events. And it's like, oh, this season of my life is insane. And then it's empty again.
Mm-hmm.
And then it's, oh my gosh, all this stuff is, and then it's empty again. You know, the hills and the valleys, right? And I try to not resonate with that too much because I like to believe that one day a peak will happen that will never stop. Like it doesn't have to be a valley. Like a valley is an option. It's not like that alternate ending with Revelation. Like you don't ever really philosophically need to have a valley. Like you could stay peaking for the rest of your life if you can set up and organize and try to manifest that somehow.
Amen. We've been at this for over 3 hours, and I think that's a pretty beautiful spot, a very
For
stoic
sure.
spot to end
sure.
it on. You know, it's all about perspective, and you know, you got to go through those troughs and those peaks. To just part of life. It's part of being human. That struggle, you know, Sisyphus rolling the boulder up the hill only to fall back down, you know, over and over, and finding beauty and joy and, you know, being grateful for everything in life while you're going through that struggle of life, I think is part of our purpose and part of what makes life great.
Absolutely, man.
Well, I appreciate you coming on, driving all this way in the rain,
Yeah, it's not bad.
and sharing very, very powerful, you know, memories and thoughts and parts of your life and who you are.
Emotions.
Yep.
Yes, thank
We do
you.
appreciate that.
First world problems, man.
Hey, but you know, it speaks a lot about your character to come on here and just put that out there.
Yep.
You know, I mean, we know you, but you don't know us that well. But for you to open up and to share that, I think that speaks a lot about who you are. So thank you.
Namaste.
Yeah, we'll have you on again because this is a lot of fun. We did this for 3 hours, and you know, it felt like nothing. It was great.
Cheers.
Cool. Thank you, man.
Yeah, man.